Laredo, take us out.
Take her out.
All right. Blast off. Take flight each and every Friday night. Join the fun and let's go off-world. Geek out with us live where the nerdiness will thrive. Buckle up and let's go off-world. Toys, comics, pop culture news, movies and so much more. Matthew, Jesse, Curtis, and Sean are your guides on this fun-filled tour. Blast off! Take flight each and every Friday night. Join the fun and let's go off-world. Let's go off-world. Let's go off-world. Hey, hey, hey. Let's go off-world tonight.
Woohoo! It's time for OffWorld 2.0. How's everybody doing out there? Appreciate everybody's joining us live. I know that Van and Jordan from the Purple Gang give us a lot of shit on OffWorld because we have more people on the screen on OffWorld than we do in the comment section. And thus may be the case tonight. Just so people are aware, because I also saw somebody posting in the comments asking about the time. So every other week is our official episodes where, you know, Jesse's not doing D&D and Dooch is on and all this and that. And then our other episodes are 2.0. A lot of times we'll push back the start time an hour so that it gives Jesse time to finish D&D and get on before the show ends. And then also on 2.0, we've got a little message chat with the 2.0 folks, and we'll shoot out, you know, who's interested in doing it this week. And it was, you know, kind of one of those where the initial people that you see on the screen here were in, and then Greg said he might pop in, and Alexander said he might pop in. And so, yeah, we are going to max out the screen, and yeah, Van will have more material to make fun of me for another week or two. So, Sean, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I am pretty good. I'm tired. It's been a long week, but, you know, there's always toys. That makes me happy.
Yeah. I tell you what, I was glad to do OffWorld tonight just so I could listen to that OffWorld theme song and hopefully get the Legends of Grayskull one out of my head from last night, because it's been spinning around for about 24 hours now. Which, by the way, if you haven't checked out, we did do a Beastman review on the Legends of Grayskull YouTube channel last night. Sean, myself, and Stephen Bisciotti joined us. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, that Legends of Grayskull theme just gets, man, earwormed in there, and it will not get out. So I think it's the look who's back. Like the hey look who's back. Like that part hits me, and then it goes right into the rest of the song. Like, so I'll just be going about my day, doing whatever, and I think somebody will say hey. Like, I'll hear somebody just say hey, and then immediately my brain goes hey, guess it, and I'm like, son of a So
it's an earworm and a half.
Yeah.
So.
And it's a great song, but it makes me think of Dooch, and then that makes me sad. So we got Joe Gonzalez with us. Joe, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing good now. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of wind where I live, and I work outside, and that sucks. But like Sean said, getting to do this show and talk about some toys, it's got me in a fine mood now, So I'm just happy to
be. That's great. And Joe and I actually just finished recording a Wednesday win shot for this week. So, you know, if you've been checking those out, that's Jesse and I have been doing some things. Sometimes it's me and him. Sometimes it's one of us by ourselves. Sometimes it's with a guest. So Joe and I just finished one for this week. So if you want to see what that is, tune in this Wednesday Those are just like little 15-minute clips to talk about shit that we like. Did one recently with Ryan, talking about Trevor's photobomb. Ryan, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. This is my third week of OffWorld in a row.
Very nice.
I think it is. I'm
It-
happy to be
trying
here.
to
I
move
love you
up into
guys.
the 1.0 status. We'll kick Dooch out.
Yeah, I'm just trying to slide in there.
He speaks.
Blake says he
mutiny.
likes your red D13 shirt.
Yeah, man.
Did you pick that up at Zolo this weekend, or did you already have that?
I already had it
Ah,
from Legion's Con, I believe.
gotcha.
22. I don't remember.
Yeah. And we got Chris Kelly. How you doing, sir?
I'm not buffering today, so I'm doing
You're not.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're looking great. And
He's got
Blake
dial
also
tone
says he
on it.
likes that Cobra sweatshirt. That is pretty badass. Where'd you get that?
Oh, these are the type of gifts that my wife and kids give me now. It's just I've got all the figures, so I get all the cool shirts now.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've been looking for some like Joe like graphic tees and stuff like that, and I haven't been able to find a whole lot. So
80s tees.
80s tees. Okay.
Yeah. I'll shoot you a link after the show. They've got all kinds of stuff on there.
Okay. Yeah, I'll check that out. But that is a pretty awesome sweatshirt. So you doing well other than not buffering the week going well for you?
Yeah. Hey, we had a Joe live stream yesterday from the Hasbro team. I placed more pre-orders than I was prepared to place in the month of February.
Yeah.
I got a couple things, and what's funny is the last time I was on was the last time I got anything new, and then this week I got 4 things at my door. So
well, there you go.
a couple things to show.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we'll definitely hit you up in a second about that Joe live stream and see what things that you're excited for, and kind of talk about that real quick. But first, we also got Alexander Deshaw joining us. How's it going, sir?
Hey guys, how are you guys doing?
We're doing
It's
excellent.
been a long week.
Yeah, we're what, less than 2 weeks out now for MesquiCon. Are you ready?
Yep.
Yeah, got all your stuff
No.
together and some cool
Absolutely
shit
not.
to show.
Yep, hopefully by the end of the week I'll have more done, but we'll see.
Gotcha.
How that goes. So
Beautiful. Yeah, anybody that's in the Midwest,
yeah.
March 15th, we're doing a Mythic meetup. We're going to be doing setup for MesquiCon. Should be a really fun time. So if you're in the Midwest, head on to Muskegon for MesquiCon 3/15. It'll be fun. I know Jesse and I are going to be set up with the Wolf King table with Stephen Bisciotti. They'll be doing a street team for the Horsemen there. So yeah, it'll be a good time. All right. Well, let's go ahead and start with show pickups. We'll start with Sean. Sean, what you got this week, sir?
I showed mine off last night.
Okay. So tune into Legends of Grayskull. Watch last
Tune
night.
into Legends of Grayskull.
And you'll see what Sean got.
I don't want to lift 8 more pounds. I'm freaking weak and I'm
I
tired
know.
and I'm 45. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I will be showing my beast, man. But like after the show last night, I moved around my entire like curio cabinet with my my Mondos and found a spot for him, which is like I have to move like 3 other figures to get out of the way, and I put it in there. And then tonight I'm like, shit, I got to dig that back out for the show. So yeah, I get it. All right, well then we'll jump over to Joe. Joe, you got anything to show us tonight?
Yeah, I got a few things in this week. Got a little bag of legs. Wow, the plastic bag's shinier than I was thinking that it was going to be. But I haven't the game figures. I haven't gotten an opportunity to really dig into them yet. But they're a pair of legs short of 2 full figures
on the female orc.
Yeah, female. Well, pretty much all of them actually, and. So sorry, my cat is distracting me. I could sit in this room on the computer for 5 hours and she wouldn't do that. But this is the second time I've been on a show that she does it. So
that's perfectly fine.
Right.
It
But,
just gives us one more person to be on the screen for Van to make fun of me about. So
right. But Joe Suter has an eBay shop where he breaks down figures and sells parts. Yeah, I think fairly reasonably. So every once in a while, I'll snag some parts from him, and I'm grabbing some legs so that I can turn my one figure with a lot of extra parts into two full figures. So
nice.
That's my first thing. My second thing,
he's got legs.
Yeah. yes, I do. Curtis put a worm in my brain last year talking about the Relic Knights. So you're going to buy 12, right? And I wasn't planning on it, but after he said it, then it started working on it. So I've ordered 8 from so far.
Nice.
But I noticed that somebody had just this part. So it was inexpensive. So I was like, well, this might be number 12. So I snagged these just because they were cheaper than the figure.
Was that also from Joe Suter, or that was somebody else?
I think it was, but I'm not sure.
I might have to check that out.
Honest.
I might have to check out. Do you know what his eBay is?
Skull book. Like skull, SKULL.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to pronounce with my speech impediment.
Gotcha.
But a skull book, and it has a lot of parts on there, a lot of good parts too.
Yeah, that's cool.
I got an extra Gideon Heavens brand head. So
wow.
I was pretty excited about that. Yeah, every once in a while he'll just throw up like old rare figures as parts.
Yeah.
So,
I actually did a trade with Zombie 13 not too long ago to get some more Templar torsos. So I might check out Joe's thing and see if I can pick something up there, because that's all you really need. Like my most recent one, I think I did a Dark Templar, and I just put the torso and the loin piece on a Valiant Knight, so I had the better articulation. But so cool.
No, I do that all the time. I'll look for cheap figures that are incomplete, and then go to Joe Suter to fill out the gaps. And then an unexpected thing today, I got my planetary dog order in. So he's planning on closing up shop, and I know it's not for a while, but I want to make sure and get the pieces that I want before they're gone. So I'll probably be placing monthly orders to get those things so that I don't miss out on the ones. I don't know if I'll use them for customs right away, but I'll have the pieces that I want. And this was something free that he included, and I thought this was kind of neat, like a kind of sci-fi wrench thing.
That's neat. I know Wolf King has a big wrench like that, but it's not sci-fi. It's more kind of mythic-y. So that's neat.
Yeah, I have that one too. So maybe we'll get a mechanic from a couple different themes. I don't know. We'll see what I end up doing with them. But
nice. Get a
my
cosmic
stuff.
versus mythic mechanic battle going on.
Yeah. I think Mythic will probably win just because I'm more comfortable customizing Mythics right now than Cosmic, So
all right. Well, next we will go to Ryan. Ryan, what you got for us this week?
So I got everything that I'm going to show. I got Sunday at ZoloCon. So I did grab the
nice
John of Fire of Clinton from Wolf King.
Which is named after Hedgehog.
Yes, sir. And then I grabbed 2 AWOC figures. I forget. I think hard
cool.
Something. I forget. I threw away the packaging, so I don't remember. I don't want to be one of those.
Cover my eyes because I don't need to go down an AWOC rabbit hole.
Wait. Here's another one.
Those figures are so cool.
Yeah, they look good.
It's just one of those lines, man. I can't do it. I can't do it because I know if I bought one, it would be I'd have to find another room to display stuff. So
Or
I have to kick one of my kids out of the house.
well, they were showing some of the newer figures from the upcoming waves, and
Yeah.
I think they look even better than these. So
man,
you might have to jump in on that.
Yeah, the two that I've really been desperately trying to avoid are Glyos and Awok, because I know they look amazing, but I just can't be all in on another line, and I'm afraid that both of those, if I got one, I would be all in. So
Just come to the dark side.
yeah, I just don't have space. I don't have
We should
space,
just do a
and I
whole show
definitely don't have the
dedicated to
money.
them, and then you're on Amazon at the end. I bought
Yeah.
things like I did.
Freaking Chris already got me hooked on these Joes, and that's been a
Mhm.
huge rabbit hole. So I can't afford another rabbit hole this year.
Mhm.
They do have a rabbit figure coming up, so there you go.
Very nice, very nice. All right, well, we'll go to Alexander next because he's been on and off, and we just want to make sure we catch him in case he has to his internet goes out on him. But Alexander, you got anything to show us this week? Any pickups?
Something's going on. I don't know. I do. I've been watching the Big Bad Toy Store daily deals,
Mm-hmm.
and I bought one already, but I bought this one because of the cloak.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that was
Fezzik.
what was that, like $10 or something? The figure.
$10.50. The cloak
Yeah, and it
alone
was-
is
I
probably
think-
worth that.
And I think it was initially like 45 or something. So that's crazy.
Yep. So I got that, and I got him for $7.50.
Mm-hmm. I think I've seen some people post or like customize that Fezzik and throw like ogre heads on it or half giant heads on it, and it
And then
seems like it looks pretty decent.
am I good?
You're good now. Yeah, you locked up for a second with Inigo Montoya
Okay.
on the screen, but we're good.
Gotcha. Well, my birthday was on Tuesday, so I got a bunch of birthday gifts here too. So
Hey, happy birthday.
Forward Xanatos.
Happy birthday.
Oh, that's a good one.
Thank you. He's really cool. I haven't really gotten around to pose him or put his wings on him yet, but I really like him too. Oh, and his hair falls off. So be careful about that.
Yeah.
That happened to me too. Yeah.
I think we have a few afflicted people on the show tonight.
I'm bald by choice. This is by choice.
They don't accept you as part of their group, Ryan. If it's choice,
No. My son got me this.
No,
Ross,
cool.
Oh, nice.
I don't know what
Nice.
it's the NECA. I'm not really sure the line, but
Happy little tree.
got that. Oh geez. And then I got the NECA Nosferatu.
Oh,
Nice.
figure.
That's cool.
I want that. I want to get one of those
So,
at some point.
and he does fit inside of the Dracula coffin.
The coffin. Awesome.
Oh, nice.
Awesome.
So yeah,
Very cool.
those are my pickups this week.
All right.
Yeah.
Next we'll go to Chris.
So
Chris, what do you
So-
got?
So this all started when my local comic shop called me up and said, "Hey, we finally got in your Mutton Junkyard." So I don't know. I think I might have told you guys. My local comic shop is awesome, and they're trying to get into toys. So I told the owner, I said, "Listen, pre-order me one of whatever classified you get, and I'll just come in and get them from you." Troop builders, though, I still pre-order those at other places too. But so Mutton Junkyard I got. But of course, we know what happens when you go in and see other stuff. I left with a couple other things. So I don't know why I keep picking this line up. This is the McFarlane steel figure.
Mm.
he looks awesome in the box, and I think honestly this is me wanting the Mafex version, but
Yeah.
I'm too cheap for the Mafex version, so I'm left with a sub quality of a character that I really wanted. I mean the hammer is kind of flimsy. I don't like that there's no upper
Ice
thigh.
level. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's cool because I've been trying to get the the different Supermen. And
I mean,
then
it is very much a value line.
Yeah.
I mean, for $24,
Yeah.
it does create a nice silhouette. It's just not as good as a toy as, like you said, like the Mafex one. But if you're just looking to throw it on a shelf and have that, that character, it doesn't look bad. I mean, the McFarlane does a pretty good job of putting out decent looking toys. The articulation just isn't the best, and there's some you got the plastic cape instead of the soft goods and things like that. But I will say that Mafex one, and Ryan can attest to this because I know he's got it. That Mafex steel is one of the best they've done. So
that Mafex steel probably did more for me to buy the McFarlane steel than McFarlane did. But
and you know what? Back to what Alexander was saying, those Big Bad Toy Store daily deals. I've seen some Mafex popping up on there for like $60. So I would check that out. I know every morning around 10 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock my time, I pop in there to see what they've got and see if there's anything I need. So
that is tempting. And then the last thing I got from the comic shop was I saw that they had the cartoon collection
Nice.
Origins. Now, I had said I wasn't going to collect this line because I was already pretty complete with Origins, but I don't know. When I saw it there, and you know what it is? It's when I see the eyes, right? It reminds me of the cartoon so much. So I haven't opened it yet because if I open it, then I'm going to need to go get the rest of them. So
is that the case? Okay.
Gotcha. It's a slippery slope, right? So I don't know. I'm debating opening it because I've already got a trap jaw over there with the Origins stuff. And then when I was running the kids around for basketball, Amazon dropped off my Nightcrawler.
Yes, I need to see that.
X-Men 97. This thing is, I've just been playing with it here since we started. This thing is awesome. So my 7-year-old was sick earlier this week, and he's watching this YouTube nonsense. And I said, "Hey, buddy, do you want to watch a good show? How about I show you a show from when I was a kid, right?" So we started watching, X-Men the animated series together. So we're maybe like 9 or 10 episodes in, and then I was telling him, I was like, "Hey, there's going to be a continuation of the show coming out soon. So let's finish the series and then we'll watch X-Men 97 together." So he is all of a sudden pumped on this because this is all new to him and he loves it. So he's been getting into my X-Men shelf and he's like, "Dad, who don't we have? Who don't we have?" And I was like, "Oh, well, we need Nightcrawler." And then I noticed Amazon had him up for pre-order. And then all of a sudden 2 nights ago, it just switched over from shipping in, late March, early April to, hey, it'll be at your door in a day or two. So we've got Nightcrawler, but I feel like that's a slippery slope because I feel like we're going to need to pick up a couple more characters we don't have. I had sold off a lot of my Legends a few years back, so I'm slowly re-getting them. But, it's nice though. A lot of them now are pinless joints, so, they are a better figure now. But yeah, that's what I got in this week. And
the articulation is really good though.
Dude, it's so good. And
because I picked up, obviously I did a whole X-Men display, and I picked up the Marvel Legends, the older Nightcrawler one, because Mafex doesn't have one. It kind of the way that I do things. I'll put a Marvel Legend in there until the Mafex comes out. Yeah. But I was wondering if this was an upgrade over the other Marvel Legend, and it looks like it might be. So
it is, Curtis. It's total pinless joints. You know how sometimes when you pick up a Marvel Legend, it's either stiff or super gummy, and then some of them are like right in between, and it's like, wow, this thing's got really good plastic. This thing's really easy to articulate right out of the package. This is one of the ones that that you're going to want. I'm actually really happy with this so far. And it came with an extra head and 2 more hands. So, we all know with the Legends, they've been getting really kind of skimpy, right? I mean, sometimes it's at the point where you get a figure and nothing else, even in the package. But no, I'm pretty happy with this. And Hasbro's not really consistent. If you've noticed with the Joes, the second you get an extra head, a lot of times they charge you a premium figure price, $34.99 to $40. This was $24.99, which I think this guy's totally worth it, especially if you missed Nightcrawler before and you were looking at the eBay prices, and Nightcrawler was starting to climb up around $80-$90 the last time that I was looking, and I wasn't paying that.
Yeah, I think I paid a little bit of a pretty penny for mine, but I may have to upgrade it to this one because I don't know that Mafex is going to do one anytime soon, but that does look very nice. I think you sold me on that, so thanks for making me buy a toy.
Hey, that's my job every time I come on, is to make you spend money, right?
Well, there you go, you're doing it. So all right, well, let's talk about my pickups. First off, we kind of briefly discussed it. Let me embiggen myself. We did the review last night, but this is the Mondo Beast Man, and this guy is freaking massive. I mean, and this is in a crouched position. Standing up, like standing straight up, he towers even over the other Mondos, which are 12 inches. So yeah, this is a big boy. I'm not gonna talk completely about the review because we did that last night, but it's probably one of the best. I would put it at it's in the top 2 figures that they've done so far. And I was not expecting to like this one that much. I kind of got him because I needed a Beastman for my collection. But I'm super blown away by it. So if you've been on the fence and you have an opportunity to get one, or if you got one coming, you're not going to regret it, because this thing is freaking awesome. So
could that even fit on a detail shelf, or it's too big, right?
No, it'll fit in a crouch position. So, which I feel like because of the character he kind of needs to be in a crouch position. So it works real well. And it's got, we talked about it on the review, but he's got double articulated knees, but it's really well hidden double articulated knees that are spaced apart. There's like one joint, and then like a ways later around the curve, there's another joint. So you don't really notice it. And it's got the fur layer details kind of covering it. But it really helps to get him in a good pose. And he's the first, Mondo to really have something to that scale. Like they have the double articulated knees on the other Mondos, but it's not like this. And I think it really benefits him a lot. So then I opened Beachhead before I knew that they were putting out a new one, which we'll talk about that in a second. But pretty good. I have a hard time getting him to stand up, but he's got like those the armored boots, the older boots. I don't know. I may have to pick up it was a retro card, right, Chris, that they showed?
Yeah. So the retro card Beachhead's going to come with a stand too. So
yeah. And then just now, because I knew I didn't have enough figures this week to talk about, I just opened up Hawk. And he looks really cool. He was always one of my favorites. I was always more into the Cobra than I was Joe's, but as far as Joe's go, I think Hawk's pretty awesome. So, and that's it as far as new toys that I picked up or that I opened. And mostly I didn't open a lot of figures this week because I was working on a custom, which you may have saw posted in the Cabal or on my Instagram, but absolutely loving this thing. This is, the crab torso that Brian CB Make on Instagram has put out. And as soon as I saw that crab torso, I was like, I know I got to make one of these. So I spent the day, last Sunday, I spent the day really just playing with parts, going through my fodder bin and seeing like what kind of parts I could put together. and he slowly, like, I had no idea like what I wanted to do with this, but he slowly became this like gladiatorial crab monster. So he's got the little trident there. He's got the gladius sword from Wolf King, wooden shield, and then my wife helped me make this like really cool net with the weights on it. Like they're just like fishing weights. So I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I was really excited for that one. So
Yeah, that's incredible, Curtis. You did an amazing job on it.
thank you.
Yeah. Is there anything Darla can't do?
I'm not sure about that. Yes, she can't stay awake during an OffWorld episode because I'm looking over and she's napping right now. But I think most people have that problem watching OffWorld. So there you go. Before we get into, I know we kind of advertise this as the Adventure Party episode, and we're going to definitely get into that. But before we do, I know Chris, you had kind of talked about the Joe reveals this week. Can you just kind of give us an update on, what was revealed and what your thoughts are on them? Which ones you're most excited for, kind of thing.
Yeah, so first of all, they always do some name only reveals, right? So that's where they don't even show any renders, right? And that one we got Saw Viper, which is I think that's a great figure. Those of us who grew up on the 80s Hammer comics, Saw Viper, he killed a lot of Joes when we were kids, right? He killed Doc and think Breaker and Flash, and he was responsible for a lot of deaths. So that'll be a cool one. And it sounds like they've got some neat stuff planned for him. And usually he's going to have like a big M60, machine gun. And then they also did a name only reveal for Dial Tone, which is another 86 figure. My sweet spot really is like 84 to 87. So I like them to hit as many of those 86 guys as they can. They talked about having him come with some cool accessories. In the 80s, he kind of came with this big telephone backpack with a, microphone piece. It was all futuristic, 15 minutes in the future. So that'll be a neat thing, right? Classified is trying to redo a couple minutes in the future with some classic, homages. Then they showed us, like you said, retro card Beachhead. They showed us a retro card Snow Serpent and a retro card Cobra Eel, which I still can't figure out what's different between the retro cards.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you with these retro versions. Like, is there anything that you noticed immediately off the bat that are significantly different? Because I looked at the eel and I was like, it looked to me pretty much like the same figure. So anything that you've noticed on those three?
I bet you the colors are going to be slightly different, and if you compare the two, it'll be very noticeable. But right now, just looking on the screen, it's hard to tell. The reds, I bet you the red on the retro card will be just a smidge brighter, where maybe the original one had a little bit more crimson to it, because they did that with the Crimson Guard. The retro Crimson Guard is almost a little bit more cartoony in that it's a brighter red compared to the darker red that came, in the single figure box. I did notice the Snow Serpent, the blue web gear is a much brighter blue, and then he doesn't come with the sort of the wolf head and skin, or the snowboard, right? Okay. So, but they also are getting figure stands. So like the Snow Serpent one is a white figure stand, which is kind of cool. I know the 60th figures coming out; those are going to have like tan, and like olive green, to kind of go with the coloration of the figure. I just like when we get stands. I buy these stands constantly off of Amazon, and whenever I don't have to, I appreciate it. Then we get into pre-orders, right? There are lots of pre-orders. We have a classified Jinx with a pretty wild arm tattoo. Pretty sure 2 heads. We have Doc, which looks amazing. And one of my favorite things on Doc is that he carries all of the gear, right? So I have bins all around the top of my billies with all the extra accessories, but I love it when I can have all the accessories kitted out on the figure and not have to put anything in the bins. Who else did we have in there? We had was it
Well, you got
Monkey?
the missile thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's the SMS, right? So in the 80s, Joe had the MMS and Cobra had the SMS, and that's got the heat sink missiles that'll get towed behind either a HISS tank or a Cobra Stinger, which is, we all know that's coming, right? Cobra Stinger's coming at some point this year. So that's cool that it's when they put the tow hitch on the back of the HISS tank, they're actually going to use it, right? One thing that I took from that is how long that's going to be, right? So they have quite a distance between the actual base of the missile launch system and then where the hitch is. And I don't think my bookshelves are actually wide enough. So I started kind of clearing out some area behind me here because I may have to move where my HISS tank is when that thing comes here. But that comes with a Techno Viper, which is painted up just like the HISS tank 3-pack that was the Cobra Officer, Range Viper, and the Bazooka Trooper, right? So that'll be cool. I like that they're continuing to sort of support the HasLab product with more sort of accessory product, that's coming out. There's another Dreadnought. Who was it? It's got to be Monkey.
Torch.
Nice
and
thing with him.
Naugahyde too.
Naugahyde is awesome. Nice thing with the Dreadnought though is they molded the glasses on, which I hope they learned. As much as I appreciate them trying to push the envelope with this stuff. I mean, my Ripper and Buzzer, their glasses fall off the second I touch those figures. So yeah, that's all molded on, and I like that we're getting the blast effect coming out of that. That really is a cool dimension, to the figure.
He was one of my favorites of the Dreadnoughts as a kid, so I'm pretty excited we're getting this one. And like you said, on my Buzzer, I actually glued the glasses like where right where it goes around his ear. I kind of glued it there, just like a dab on each side. So I didn't glue it all the way down, but enough to hold it. And then on Ripper, I actually just have him holding his sunglasses because those things just don't want to stay on. So yeah, I'm glad they did this way instead.
Yeah. No, that's a great idea.
And then I was looking at, because I didn't realize that I didn't see Doc before you just said that, and yeah, he looks freaking awesome. So that's cool.
Yeah, he's really cool. They came up with their own sort of GI Joe medical patch, for his arm. He comes with a flare gun, which I think is such an awesome idea, right?
Yeah, that's neat.
I can't think of a Doc that just had a flare gun. That's cool. That's a cool touch. The stretcher folds too. So
really?
Yeah, that's going to be really cool once we get the Dragonfly, because I have a feeling that's somehow going to be incorporated into the Dragonfly. That team is doing such a great job in sort of planning their line ahead and making it so that way things are forward and backward compatible. So there's Jinx there with Doc, and when I saw the arm tattoo and I see what they're doing with the regular classified release and then with the retro card, well, I think maybe it could be two years down the line. I think we're probably going to see a more classic Jinx, possibly with out the arm tattoo and look a little bit more like the 87 movie look. But it is neat that they gave her two heads, and it even comes with the bandana to go over the eyes, just like when she was battling Falcon in the 87 movie.
Yeah, I just can't get over how good this Doc looks. This might be, just from the pictures, and I don't know who does their photography, but they do an amazing job. But Just from the pictures, this might be my new favorite character. Man, this thing is awesome looking.
I was listening to something the other day, and I feel bad because I don't remember exactly which YouTube podcast it was, but they actually did a full breakdown of Doc. And other than the web gear of the body, it's all part reuse. So
Really?
it shows how, once you build out that initial library of pants and shirts and stuff like that, I mean, you can have an absolutely incredible figure and, really not need a ton of new tooling with it.
So there's Jinx.
She looks so good.
2 heads. Yeah, that's cool. And then did we talk about a Naugahyde just briefly, but
Naugahyde and his as close as I can get to being Timon and Pumbaa without Disney suing me pets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's a cool shot there.
Yeah, it's funny, during the live stream there was people complaining about the warpage on that single arrow, but if you were to actually fire and do a freeze frame of firing an arrow, it would actually have the same sort of compression through the arrow. So it was funny, they were trying to make a point, but they actually did a poor job of that. The original Naugahyde, his hat came off, which this guy does too, and he came with the wild boar, and I just think the monkey's just a cool, cool addition into this, right?
Yeah, I love this shot too. Man, whoever their photographer is, man, they're awesome. Love the tattoo on the head. Yeah, this whole thing looks badass.
Yeah, he's so good. I'm actually shocked how much we got with that figure.
Yeah, it's pretty stacked. And what's the price on that one?
Oh, I forget.
Just standard. Let's see. I guess it'll show me here at the bottom.
Yeah, $44.99.
Yeah,
so he's a deluxe.
Yeah, I mean, 2 animals and all that gear, and yeah, that's cool. And then
the last one was the Night Creeper, right? And this is really cool because there was Night Creepers and Night Creeper leaders, and then if you watch the cartoon, there was the Night Creeper leader was a character with the same body but a different head, and then there was another Night Creeper that came in Ninja Force that came with like a more futuristic style head, and they're giving us both heads, which I think is really cool. But this looks so good. I mean, this is such a classic inspired figure. I like that we're getting, I think he came out in like 90, so like here we are, we're still only a few years in and we're getting some of these standouts, from the late 80s, early 90s, right? It's not like we're just filling the original 13 and then, working our way up. And I like how they're doing that. They're giving a little bit for everybody, but what ends up happening is everybody's picking up whatever they're making.
Right. Trevor here says Matt Cohen, I guess, is the photographer for them. And his handle is @ShootingTheGalaxy. So
yeah, he is excellent.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. So that's really cool. And I don't, this is one of those characters that I don't know. I didn't have a connection to. That it is cool though.
Yeah, that's that Ninja Force style head. They didn't have to give us that. That's such a neat nod. Night Creeper was big in the Deke series. So if you grew up,
that's super cool right here on the back. Like you're talking about like carrying the load out. That's pretty badass.
Yes, that's what I like to see. If you remember, the Sunbow series, which most of us think of when we think of the G.I. Joe cartoons, but then we got a couple seasons of the Deke series after that, after the '87 movie, and in the later years, that character was pretty prominently used in that.
And then this was the first one, the missile one that we were talking about.
Yeah, so though it's so deceiving, but when I saw Lenny and Tony handling those red missiles on the live stream, I'm like, those things are quite large. I have a whole bunch of the 3.75 inch missile stations, and those are a decent size, but that is going to be bigger than most people think it's going to be. And I saw some people complaining about the price, but I think when they actually get it in hand, I mean, look at how that is, size wise, compared to, the 6-inch figure.
I love all the details on it.
Oh, like it's so cool.
Little writing and everything. Yeah, that's cool.
And that little computer is a really nice homage on the right side above the 65. That's a nice homage to, the original one used to have sort of like a string or like it was to act as a wire going to it with a very similar computer that was like a standalone unit. And I like how they sort of built it all into this.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know, just based on space, I don't know that I'm picking that one up. But if somebody ends up, and I'm sure there's going to be people that part this stuff out.
Yep.
I really like this character, and I may just try to see if I can pick that character up on eBay because I think he looks really cool.
Well, think about what happened with that His Tank 3-pack, right? How quickly that sold out. And this is sort of a continuation of that. I could see not that far into the future where that figure is essentially going to go on the secondary market for the same price as the missile set and the figure.
Yeah, I may try to see if I can pick him up for a decent price, just because I really like the figure, but I don't know that I've got room for the missiles and stuff.
Yeah,
I think there's only one vehicle that if they made I really want, which is the Cobra Snow one. I can't remember what it's called.
The Cobra Wolf.
Yes. Yeah, that one I would definitely have to get because I loved that vehicle as a kid. So
and then we had the Tiger Force 2-pack of Tripwire and
which is sold out now.
Roadblock. Yeah, so that's sold out on Pulse, but that is a Target exclusive. So Pulse will get a limited number of items to put onto their website, but I easily pre-ordered it on Target.com, and you'll see those in store.
Yeah, I'm just not sold on the Tiger Force color schemes, the especially the pants and stuff. Like I don't know that I need the sub teams, but it is cool looking for sure.
If somebody missed out on the previous Heavy Gunner Roadblock that was an Amazon exclusive, that big boy is the best roadblock that they've done so far. They already made 3 roadblocks, right? So I think this is the 4th roadblock. Once you pop that yellow helmet off, it still kind of has an iconic look. I think the gaudy appeal is still with Tripwire, right? Because he's got that yellow and the tiger stripe on him,
right?
And then the last thing that they showed, but they didn't actually put up for pre-order, was a Cobra Ferret ATV with they're calling it I think a Ferret Scout. It's essentially it's going to use the female Cobra officer body, but in gray, similar to like a Stinger driver, and then it comes with like a ATV type helmet and had almost like a flak armor, to go with it.
Gotcha. Yeah, so definitely some. I mean, they're firing on all cylinders right now and putting out some amazing stuff. So, yeah, definitely gonna have to pick up some of those for especially that Doc. That Doc may be my new favorite Joe figure. It is so cool. So awesome. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, no, happy to talk about that stuff. And I actually think last thing I think those SMSs are going to be in hand sooner than what they're putting on the website, because on histank.com people have been tracking the import of a lot of the items coming from overseas, and they started getting those in January. So you know how Hasbro can kind of throw us off with, hey, yeah, it's not going to ship until July, and then all of a sudden it's, early April and your credit card gets whacked. I think that's going to happen with a couple of things we saw.
Gotcha. All right, cool. Well, I know Jesse said that he would, if he can make it back in time, he'd like to participate in the adventure party. So we're going to go to This Week in Theaters real quick. So I've got the random number generator up. We've got our typical 82 to 2010. We're going to hit the generate button, and we are landing on 1989. So put on your memory hats, and we're going to scroll back down to 1989 here. We're doing weekly. And 89. And we are going to March 1st. All right, here we go. Number one at the box office for this week is The Burbs. Tom Hanks, on an overstressed suburbanite and his neighbors are convinced that a new family on block is part of a murderous satanic cult. So then we've got Rain Man, Dustin Hoffman, Tom Cruise. After a selfish LA yuppie learns his estranged father left a fortune to an autistic savant brother in Ohio that he didn't know existed, he absconds with his brother and sets off across the country hoping to gain a larger inheritance. Then you've got Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Two rock and roll teens on the verge of failing their class set on a quest to make the ultimate school history report after being presented with a time machine. And that is Keanu Reeves and whatever that other dude's name is. So
Alex Winter.
Alex Winter.
there you go. Then we've got Dangerous Liaisons. Looks like Glenn Close. I'm not sure who else is in there. A scheming widow and her manipulative ex-lover make a bet regarding the corruption of a recently married woman. Next, we have got Three Fugitives. Reformed bank robber is taken hostage by a desperate man during a bank holdup, but is forced to go on the run with his captor when they're both mistakenly thought to be in cahoots. And I can't see who's in there. I don't know. It looks like Nick Nolte and Martin Short. So interesting. Next we have Beaches. Damn, I'm upset that Jesse's not here. A privileged risk.
Nazis are feminine. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. A privileged rich debutante and a cynical struggling entertainer share a turbulent but strong childhood friendship over the years. Yeah, Jesse be all over that.
I can't stand that movie. Can't stand that movie. I moved in with my wife. We were living together for like a week. Right?
Yeah.
I'm downstairs watching football, and I just hear tears pouring out of the bedroom upstairs. I go running upstairs thinking somebody died, and she's bawling. And I'm like, all I could think of is, oh, this woman woke up and realized she made a huge mistake moving in with me, right? and I'm like, what's the matter? It took a couple minutes to get out of her, and she's crying because she's watching that freaking movie. And I still, to this day, my wife is not allowed to watch that movie.
We'll save that for when Jesse gets here, and also talk about the X-Men the animated series because he loves hearing that. The cousins looks like two couples go on a mutual friend's wedding and end up swapping partners. So that's something. Looks like Ted Danson, Lloyd Bridges, a few other people I don't know. Yeah.
Is it more disturbing that it's named Cousins?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. We have got The Fly 2. An almost
They knew their
human son
demographics.
of Brundlefly searches for a cure to his mutated genes while being monitored by a nefarious corporation that wishes to continue his father's experiments. And I don't know who's in that. Let's see. Fly 2 cast. Eric Stoltz.
He went method in that, I bet.
John Getz. Goldblum is in it, so it looks like he maybe plays a minor role. Maybe he's just like on their short period of time. But okay. Then we've got Working Girl. When a secretary's idea is stolen by her boss, she seizes an opportunity to steal it back by pretending she has her boss's job. Looks like Harrison Ford and not sure
Melanie
who else.
Griffith.
Okay, Melanie Griffith.
Sigourney Weaver.
It's Sigourney Weaver, yeah.
Gotcha. And last one on the list, we've got True Believer. Stan Lee story. Oh no, sorry. This is a cynical former civil liberties attorney, now reduced to specializing in defending drug dealers, becomes transformed by an 8-year-old murder case. So, and that is, let's see who's in that. It would help if I could spell. Cast. Let's see. We got James Woods, Robert Downey Jr.'s in it. Margaret Cullen, and then a few other people. Luis Guzman. So, all right. So there's your 10. We will start. Well, I'll just start. I'll get this thing rolling. Let's see. Burbs is really fun. Bill and Ted's fun. Rain Man's a great movie. I think just for the fun of it in a movie theater experience, I'm gonna probably do Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I think would be pretty fun to see on the big screen. I don't think I saw that on the big screen when it was first out. So that's where I'm going. I'm going to Bill and Ted. Sean?
I'm moving to Da Burbs.
Nice.
One of my absolute favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, definitely great movie. Cool. Chris, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I want to see a young John Wick go on an excellent adventure. That's what I'm looking for.
Beautiful. Yeah, it'll be fun. Get Lincoln, get Genghis Khan, take Napoleon to get a sundae.
So crates.
Yeah, so crates.
Gotta get so crates.
Joe, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the crowd on this one. I've only seen Rain Man and Bill and Ted off of this list, and Rain Man's a good movie, but it's just not the type of movie that I watch now that I'm old.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, Bill and Ted's super fun. I'm going to see that one too.
Yeah, and if this was like, Sunday afternoon, just putting something on and relaxing, maybe I watch Rain Man. But, if I'm using a time machine specifically to go back and watch a movie in 1989, I don't know that the theater experience of watching Rain Man is exactly what I'm looking for. So,
right.
But still a good movie. Rygon, what are you saying?
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure all day.
Very nice.
69 dudes.
Put them in the Iron Maiden. Excellent. Execute them. Bogus.
Shut up, Ted. What was her name? The stepmom. Every time, dude.
God, I can't remember her name. But yeah, she was something. So yeah, it looks like Sean's going to see the Burbs and everybody else is going to Bill and Ted.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine. And if Jesse was here, he'd be going to Beaches. So
yes.
Missy was the mom. That's right.
Yeah.
All
Or you
right.
might see Working Girl.
Let's see what we had for weeks. So Rain Man at this point was 11 weeks out. Dangerous Liaison still in the top 5, 10 weeks. Beaches with it 10 weeks. I think those were all viewed by Jesse. He was keeping them in the theater at that point. Working Girl is still 10 weeks, and then the rest of them are kind of in the single digits. So let's take there wasn't a whole lot out there that this week. So not a whole lot else on the list after the 10. Do have Twins, which is really good, and that's really it. Twins 12 weeks and they're out of the top 10. That's a shame. All right, cool. Well, that was this week in theaters. So and Trevor says it's time for Wapner. That's true. It is time for Wapner. And Kmart sucks. So all right. So it's that time of the show. We're gonna get to our adventure party. We had fun with this last time we did it. So I figured let's do another one, but instead of comic book characters, this time we're gonna do vintage toys. So the challenge here was to put together a team of 5 adventure party of your choosing, whatever criteria you want, as long as they fall in the category of vintage toy. And I would say anything pre 2000 maybe. So pre 2000 toy, and your list of 5. So we'll go ahead and I guess I'll just start it off and we'll just go around unless is there somebody dying to go first? Anybody speak up now, forever hold your peace. All right. So I'll go. And I kind of use the same criteria that I used the last time. So I've kind of got themes that I'm looking for. So the themes that I had set up last time was, a Boy Scout, which is usually like the leader, like the kind of the heart of the team, a wild card character, a brute, character, somebody that's kind of going to be that muscle of the team, a magic user, and a tech guy. So that's my ones that I kind of put together on the team. So starting out, Boy Scout, the ultimate Boy Scout toy, He-Man. That's, I just went vintage, straight up He-Man, not battle armor, not any of the flying fist or any of that, just straight up He-Man. When I'm thinking of nostalgic toys to fit that good character, like ultimate good character role, He-Man is that guy. So that was my first pick. For the wild card pick, which maybe isn't as wild cardy as my last one, last time we did this, but I went with Secret Wars Black Suit Spider-Man. I really liked the Secret Wars figures. Compared to today's stuff, obviously very limited articulation. But I really liked those figures, and specifically that Black Suit Spider-Man. I talked to Joe earlier today that, I wasn't really into the Marvel comics growing up. I was into DC comics. So when I saw that figure over at a friend's house, it was the first time I'd ever seen Spider-Man in a black suit, and it just blew me away. So that, anytime I see, Black Suit Spider-Man, I'm automatically transported back to playing with that Secret Wars figure. So I definitely wanted to fit him on my team some way. So I threw him here in this wild card spot.
You can't go wrong with the lenticular shield either. That's just a gold accessory right there.
Yeah. I loved those shields with the different little scenes and stuff on them, and you move it back and forth, and you'd see them transform, or whatever. That was fun. So for my brute character, I kind of tried to cheat here because I wanted some sort of muscle character, but I ended up going with Transformers Defensor, because he's kind of a bigger character, but he also breaks up into 5 other characters. So I kind of cheated a little bit there.
That's cheating,
Yeah, but my pick here is Defensor. because it was probably my favorite Transformer growing up. I really liked the aspect of the rescue vehicles. You know, you had a cop car, you had the helicopter, the fire truck, all that came together to make this one character. And I just thought it really was cool looking. It's one that as an adult collector, I have not added back to my collection, and I really need to get one. Like it is a glaring hole in my vintage collection is not having that Defensor. So and you know, depending on what kind of adventure that we're going on, having a bunch of rescue vehicles probably not the worst thing in the world. So for magic user, and one thing I mentioned this last time that we did this, but I tried to stay only one character per property is kind of my thing, so that I can kind of get a wide variety. Like I think the whole thing with an adventure party is putting these teams together you wouldn't normally see together, and you know, yeah. So for magic users, I went with the Superpowers Dr. Fate figure. You know, I just something about that Dr. Fate, and like I said, I was a big DC fan growing up, but I had never read a Dr. Fate comic book. Even to this day, I still have not read a Dr. Fate comic book. But that figure for the Superpowers line was super cool. I loved that figure. And so, you know, in terms of like a magic user, I thought he would be a good one to put in there. And then for the tech guy, when we went comics, I did Donatello. So I didn't want to do him again. So I changed course a little bit, and I did Thundercats Panthro. I thought as far as a tech guy goes, he made some really cool shit, and you know, vehicles and stuff like that. So I thought he would be a cool one to have on the team. So that's my team. So I got He-Man, Secret Wars Black Suit Spidey, Defensor from Transformers, Superpowers Dr. Fate, and Panthro. And we had talked about like kind of just a short, like what maybe the adventure that they're going on. And I think, you know, because I was choosing one character from each of these different universes and stuff, I kind of thought it would maybe be some sort of multiversal event where, you know, they're thrown together and they have to, you know, fix the whatever kind of crack in the multiverse that there is. So Dr. Fate's going to play a big role as far as the magic side of it, trying to fix whatever is broken, that allowed these characters to come together. Defensor is going to play a big role in terms of just keeping people safe and rescuing them. He-Man's going to be that heart of the team. And then, you know, you've got Spider-Man and Panthro kind of, you know, working on solutions and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of the idea that I had here, and that's my team. So any thoughts on Curtis's team?
Pretty solid. Yeah. There's not really a weak link in that one.
I'm pretty happy with it. And it was all toys that I really enjoyed as a kid. So yeah, there you go. And now after putting that list together, I really need to hit eBay up and try to find a Defensor. I think I've got the rest of them in some form or fashion, but I need that one. So
that's their actual quest, is to get you to spend more money. So.
There you go. Mm-hmm. So next we'll go over to Sean. Sean, what is your adventure party?
So I did it with, I didn't have like a story in mind, but I did it from just trying to go, okay, what would be ones that if I was a kid and I pulled them out of the toy box or whatever, which ones would I have been drawn to the most, and then come up with something on the spot to just entertain myself for a half hour. Mm-hmm. So I'll do first two, because they are kind of a set in a sense. Han Solo and Chewbacca. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know, there's something about just putting Han Solo in a situation automatically makes it cooler to me. And he's, you know, he's got that like indie kind of vibe with the, you know, like, I don't know, making this up as I go along all the time. And I kind of dig that about that character. And I like that Chewbacca can be the brute, or he can be the conscience to Han. And either way, I think he'd be a fun backup character. And plus, the two of them, it's like 3PO and R2. It's hard to take one and not do the other one with them. So the next one that I picked is Optimus Prime.
Okay.
I figure he could be the leader. He could be the heart of the team. He could be that father figure kind of character. And I do like, there's something about Optimus transforming and Han and Chewie getting into the truck. And now they're truckers instead of in the Millennium Falcon. It's almost got that Jack Burton kind of vibe from Big Trouble in Little China for me, which amuses me. And then as like a wild card slash, I'd say like a stealth character, and one that I would have gone to really easily too, the camo version of Storm Shadow, the second version that came out. So he was a Joe. And he had the camo outfit and everything, but I kind of I was thinking, what about Snake Eyes? But I'm like, dude, he's cool, but he never talks. I want to have a guy that talks, but is capable of being like Snake Eyes. He would be that. And I also think he's a bit more pompous, so that would make him and Han have moments where they butt heads, and Han tell him to go F himself. So Shadow like trying to wax philosophical, and Han be like, "I don't have time to listen to that. Chewie, did you punch the engine? Or whatever," and do their thing. And as the fifth one, and this is from the previous one, but he would be one that I would be drawn to again. Superpowers Firestorm. He was a must for me when I was a kid, and he could kind of work within that. I wouldn't say the magic user, but the fact that he can do some of this stuff out of thin air because he's manipulating molecules and atoms and stuff. Technically, that is like magic in a sense. So,
and you cheated like I did, because that's really two characters in one.
It is, but I just put that one figure.
I'm loving the DC love, by the way.
Yeah.
I knew there was
Firestorm,
you guys.
for me, it's like Superman is number one, and then Firestorm is like 1.5. I've always been into Firestorm ever since I had that figure as a kid.
I think probably the line I had the most fun with as a kid was the Superpowers line. And like just knowing that I had every figure, and I had almost every vehicle, and the Hall of Justice, obviously, and knowing that my mom gave it all away while I was at school one day, just man, it stings. It stings. But yeah. All right. Chris, any thoughts on Sean? I like Sean's. I really like the idea of the Han and Chewie kind of as truckers. Like, just that idea I think would be cool. Like putting those two in a trucker thing.
I feel like it needs to happen.
What's the movie with Clint Eastwood and the orangutan?
Oh, Any Which Way But Loose.
Yeah. It's like that.
Jordan. Jesus Christ.
So yeah, I really like that idea. Yeah. Cool. Any other thoughts on Sean's?
I also love that DC Superpowers Firestorm. That was one of my favorite figures as a kid. I dug mine out last night, and I was going to use it, but he's missing an arm. So now I got to go on eBay and find the right arm. But yeah, that was such a great figure.
To your point about the Steel McFarlane figure, like I've seen the Firestorm McFarlane figure at least 2 or 3 times now. And every single time I look at that figure, I'm like, I feel responsibly I should buy this. But I look at it,
platinum,
and
or
is so tiny.
That's the one that the regular version looks like the Superpower, and the platinum looks different. So yes,
that's
a good one. It looks good, but the head, it like when you look at the Superpowers one, that to me is the definitive face sculpt of Firestorm. When I see the McFarlane one, I'm like, you need to at least get 5 more passes on that before you make that legit looking to me. And I never have gotten the urge to pick it up, because the Superpowers one just knocked it out of the park for me as a kid so much.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's pop over to Chris. Chris, what is your adventure party?
All right. So what I did was I went into the mind of 6-year-old me, and I said,
Mhm.
all right, imagine your parents says, hey, listen, we're going on vacation for a week. You can bring 5 things with you.
Mhm.
Put them in your lunch pail, right? And that's sort of
Yeah.
what I did. So I wanted to touch from, some of my favorite toy lines as a kid, and I actually dug through the bin of my own childhood toys. So I actually have them to show. So the very first one that I have to show is a bootleg figure, because who in the 80s did not have a bootleg
Mhm.
figure, right? You got 99 cents. You don't have 2.99 for a GI Joe. Guess what? You're going home with the Remco American Force. And this guy, I forget his name, but it was the cheesiest name. It's like Action Tom or something like that, right? you know, like
That's
so.
what they call him at the strip club later when he's taking all that off.
Before this show, I was kind of thinking, like, what is everybody going to use for these adventure parties? The one name that did not pop into my head was Action Tom.
Yeah. What's funny is last night I actually found online the card art for this guy, which has his name on it. So I did some homework and I totally forgot, but it's cheesy. It's horrible. It's like Action Tom. But I mean, who didn't have a bootleg? I mean, we had bootleg Rambos and
Yeah.
bootleg GI Joes, and you know what? It wouldn't be a fun action party when you're a kid if one of these guys didn't die. So you need cannon fodder, right? So this is the first guy to go, right? This is the first guy shot, taken captive, goes AWOL. Action Tom, right?
Gotcha.
He's
So,
even got some holes in him already. So
Yeah.
And he is rusting like crazy too. I'm noticing that now because I look at those leg screws because using them in the bathtub and the pool and stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So then I
Too
started
much
thinking,
Action Tom.
all right, so we all had bootlegs, right? Then I started thinking comic book lines that I loved as a kid. And this is where I was digging through for Firestorm, but I actually found my original Iron Man, right? So he's the brains behind the operation. He's the one who's going to fund, these 5 guys going to find the MacGuffin device and save the world, right?
Mhm.
This was my introduction into Marvel. You talked, Curtis, about Black Suit Spider-Man.
Mhm.
I never ever saw the red and blue Spider-Man as a kid. We picked up these Secret Wars figures at like a closeout store, almost like an Ollie's type thing today. So this is where I learned about it, and I still, as a kid, I remember thinking, this Kang guy, why they got a figure? Like, I never see him on any of the comics, right? Like
Right.
that one really screwed me up. But yeah, so we're sending Iron Man as the representative of those Secret Wars and Superpowers lines. So then thinking through progression, right? The next thing I fell in love with was G.I. Joe, right?
Yep.
So this figure, Lift Ticket, was one of my favorites as a kid. It doesn't get a lot of love, but I loved Lift Ticket because of what Lift Ticket came with. So this is kind of where I'm cheating, like your Defensor, right?
Yep.
I've got my
I like how
Tomahawk.
Oh, nice.
Right, this is my actual childhood Tomahawk. It's all busted up. It's missing some stuff, but this is what I ran around the backyard with as a kid.
That's
and
awesome.
and so Lift Ticket made it because you know what? When you find that MacGuffin, you got to get it out of there.
Yep.
And you got to get the body of Action Tom out of there, right? You're gonna need a helicopter, and I have a soft place with helicopters in my heart because I worked on helicopters for 10 years. So this was my favorite vehicle as a kid. So I had to figure a way of working it in there, right? So,
Yeah, I mean that helicopter is cool, but I will say the most impressive thing about that character is that he still has his thumbs.
Yes, he does. He does. That's because he spent almost all my childhood just sitting in that seat, pegged in, right?
Yeah.
Then the next toy line I got into as a kid was Turtles, right?
Mhm.
And it's funny. This guy
That's
to
a good
me
one.
was the coolest guy, right? He's a
Mhm.
robot, right? This party starts running low on food and water, and say it's going into a volcano. You send in the robot, right? He was the drone before drones, right? And he was Chrome. What wasn't cool in the 80s that was Chrome? I mean, do you remember Captain Power? Right? He came in a Chrome
Yep.
suit. He had the videos. I didn't know anything about Captain Power except he looked cool. So
Look badass. Yeah, this was one of my favorite Turtles. It's a shame the Super 7 one has such loose like legs that it won't even stand. I've heard that from pretty much everybody. It looked great, but yeah, I loved this figure as a kid. I this inclusion is great, and the fact that the light can come through the top of his head and then make his eyes glow is another cool effect as well.
Yeah, no, this guy was one of my favorites, and it was funny growing up as a kid. It's like, who's your favorite turtle? Donatello, Michelangelo, Leonardo, Raphael. But I was like, no, dude, I like the robot turtle. Like that was my favorite as a kid. So he would have definitely came out of the toy box. And then the last sort of toy line that I loved as a kid was Toy Biz X-Men and Cable. Cable to me always looked like, grew up loving G.I. Joe. He was like the 90s evolution into what a soldier was, right? Super muscular, he came with a gun, which I have no idea what has happened to it and through time. But Cable, I mean, I just pre-ordered the Marvel Legends Cable that went up for pre-order like a week or two ago, just because that character to me just is somebody that I always thought was really cool and had a cool backstory. But he's definitely coming as some of the muscle behind the operation. So that is my party, and I know I totally cheated with the helicopter, but if I was a kid and I had to go on a make-believe adventure, these are the 5 guys that I'm bringing, and really 4 guys, right? Because one of them is coming back in a body bag. But
we're getting invaded by Purple Gang.
Hey!
Purple Gang.
What's up, Van?
Nothing much. I was actually in bed or going to bed, and Jordan said, "Hey, dude, we got tagged in." So I'm like, "Fuck, let me step up real quick." So yeah.
All right. Well, anybody have any thoughts on Chris's adventure party?
No, solid.
That's pretty fun. Having
How much mescaline was involved?
Quite a bit.
I love the incorporation of the chopper. That's cool. The figures were great, and even thinking to bring somebody that could easily get killed. So yeah, that's a nice adventure.
the visual aids are good for this show too.
Yeah,
we're definitely more of the pictures guys. So
yeah.
Oh, y'all were talking about Joe's.
Well, we're talking adventure parties. Yeah. Oh, nice. Very nice. I don't think I've got. Is that the exclusive?
Yeah, that's the very rare Estelle Getty Comic Con version.
Yeah. Stop or my mom will shoot you version of the bat.
Very nice. All right.
Absolutely.
Hey, Curtis, this is kind of cool. A couple episodes ago, I kind of showed my toy room, but this was all I had for G.I. Joe as a kid. It was in this little cooler, right?
Hell yeah.
And I still have it. It's all exactly the way it was when I was a kid.
That's cool.
All those guys. Many of them are getting broken and lost the time. But it's amazing though. We love to say, "Hey, I'm reliving my childhood." Like everything, I can pick it up with one hand. Now I've got
Yeah.
Respect.
Isn't it amazing how your entire Joe collection would fit into that one thing, and now you look at how much space you need now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I would need like a full-on Yeti cooler for all my fleshlights at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that your mom didn't just give away your Joes when you were at school one day, like mine did with my superpowers. So
That's horrible, dude. What did you do to deserve that treatment?
you know, it was just one of those where she said that she thought that I was at an age where I didn't need that anymore. And that they were friends with another couple that their kid was really into it, but they really didn't have a whole lot of money and stuff. And so she thought it would be nice to just, give it to him, which is like, okay, I get this, that
cool.
part of it. But it's like, man, you could have at least run it by me, because like that was my favorite freaking line. But
yeah,
who knew that the age would come back again many, many years later?
Right.
Are these are superpowers? Are those the 5-point toys that they're selling on cards now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Peter Johnson he's got quite a few of those.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job with that line. I like it a lot. I've gotten quite a few of those. So
I've been waiting on the never mind. That's Page Punchers. Totally different. Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll go to Joe next. We'll keep around and around. Joe, and I know you do more of a kind of a D&D aspect to the adventure party, so I'm really excited to see what you put together here. What's your vintage toy adventure party?
I just want to say good night, gents. I gotta wake up super early, but
see ya.
Yeah.
Appreciate
thank you for the invite.
Later, dude.
I'm blown away.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were just trying to max out the screen, so
I appreciate it. Jordan will be on shortly. He's outdoors right now.
All right, see ya. All right, Joe, what do you got for us?
Well, I feel like last time I went a little too, like I said, I misunderstood the assignment. I went a little too formal with my, having my list, but I'm me and I'm still a D&D nerd. So I still have classes for the characters that I picked, but I thought about it a little bit more. And, you said vintage. So I was thinking I'm going to attach that I picked the character for a role, but also their personality trait as it would fit into a 70s or 80s, cartoon or TV show.
Yeah, real quick though, I just going to jump in for just a second, because when I said vintage, I didn't think about like the ages of the people we have in here. So I hope you didn't like go back to like Pet Rocks and stuff, because I wasn't thinking that far back.
Nothing from when I was a kid.
Are you talking about me? I am familiar with Pet Rocks. I know of it. I just didn't have it.
Gotcha. Yeah, one of Ryan's adventure party people is going to be a Tamagotchi. All right, go ahead, Joe. I'm sorry.
All right, no problem. All right, so first, the first, I'll start with my tank class, because tanks are my favorite characters. You need a guy up front soaking damage, so that way the soft people aren't getting squished.
Blocking it with his face mostly.
Right. I went with Ram Man from Masters of the Universe. And the personality trait that I felt he brings that fits into the inevitable show that he would be in would be comic relief. He's the tough guy, but he's always got something silly to say, or can't remember Chakotay's name or something like that.
Shabooby.
every like group show from the 70s and 80s needed like the comic relief guy,
Right.
So I thought that was an appropriate fit.
That's a good in the last two adventure parties, I have not even thought about like a comic relief kind of character. That is a good addition. I like that.
All right. Well, thank you. So next I'm going with my leader class. Like I said in the last one, kind of for me, it's always a paladin. I picked Lion-O for that character because he's a powerful character, but a young character that doesn't have everything figured out yet. So he's going to make some wrong decisions, some things to keep the the episode interesting because he hasn't done, he doesn't have a lot of experience yet. So I thought he would be a good fit in that role.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Looks like
next,
Jesse would be on his way home.
right. Next is the controller class, which is typically like a wizard, somebody who just keeps the battlefield manageable so you don't get overwhelmed. I went with the Alec Guinness Obi-Wan, and I thought that he would be a great father figure type character for the group, could be a mentor to Lion-O, and just keep the other characters kind of, from getting out of control, just a more even keeled type character to have in the group. Plus, he can use the Force. So, this isn't the battle you're looking for, or, put the characters away. So he'd be really effective in combat in that role too. Next class is support. I went with Glimmer from She-Ra. And she has, like teleportation, levitation powers. She could be a good support character. And for personality, this is based off of, what I was thinking a 70s or 80s show would have. So I needed a token female. Like,
Gotcha.
She didn't really have to have like a big role. She just had to be there because that was what they did back then, And then for my final role, DPS, and this one might be my favorite pick because I think this is going to be fun. I went with Cobra Commander.
Nice.
Yeah. So DPS because he uses guns, so of course he's going to do a lot of damage. I absolutely love the voice actor that did. Unfortunately, he's passed away a long time ago, but did Cobra Commander and Starscream. Just one of my favorite voice actors of all time. But I thought he would be a great. What's that?
Chris Latta.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I thought he would be a great foil for the rest of the group, to have one character who wasn't a good guy stuck with this group of good people. When I was a little kid on Nick at Night, they would play the old Lost in Space episodes in black and white. There was always that creepy old man with them who was like a jerk, and maybe a child molester. I don't know, but he, I thought that Cobra Commander could be that great, just antagonist that when all the good characters want to do something good, he's there, contradicting them or criticizing them, because they're making maybe not the decisions that he would. So, and I thought for what adventure they would be on, kind of like the D&D cartoon from the 80s. Just for whatever reason, they all get pulled into a world of sorcery and
what's up, dude?
And they're just trying to find a way home, and they're stuck in this unfamiliar place, and they have to work together, even though they might not mesh all the time with their personalities. But so that's my slightly expanded list for the adventure.
No, I like it. Like there's some roles in there that I didn't even think of. Like I didn't think of comic relief. I didn't think of, kind of the token female. And I also didn't think of like a child molester type character. So yeah, I'm it's interesting that you threw those in there. It definitely makes for an interesting combo. So
if you want an evil character, just saying, what's more evil than that?
Yeah. Welcome, Jesse.
Hi.
Any other thoughts on Joe's? I really thought it was fun. It's a good one. But any other thoughts on Joe's?
I think Lion-O is interesting in that because if Lion-O needs to use a Sword of Omens, that means that Curtis loses a figure. because Panther is going to be playing with Joe over on his side, and that's the end of that. So yeah,
I think it was interesting thinking of Lion-O in terms of a paladin, like that idea of Lion-O being a paladin was kind of interesting. I like that. So cool.
I like the idea of Cobra Commander having to begrudgingly go along with things. Like I would watch that show. Like he framed it out like a really good cartoon show. He doesn't want them to win, but he wants to get back home, right? So he's like, that's pretty creative.
Yeah, and I did try to on the cartoon one or the comic book one. I tried to put at least a female in the group, and I thought about it on this, but as I thought back to like my vintage toy collection, I don't remember having too many if any female characters. I mean, I obviously I had the whole superpowers line, so I had Wonder Woman, but I can't think of a whole lot of female characters that I actually had in my collection. Like I don't even think, like as a He-Man collector, I don't even think I ever had Teela. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I thought about Teela, but I had already picked a Masters of the Universe character, so I wanted to go from a different line.
Yeah, She-Ra edition is interesting. I wouldn't have even thought of that. So cool. All right, Ryan, we're on to you. What's your adventure party?
So a lot of these figures I didn't have, but looking up like the some of my picks, I definitely would have liked to have had a few of these. So my first one, my leader character, I went Kenner Superpowers Batman.
Okay.
Plus I like the gray and blue.
Gray and blue, yeah.
Yeah, so he's my leader type character. Then I also went He-Man for my Boy Scout muscle type character.
Yep.
And then I cheated like a motherfucker on this next one because I just picked Voltron.
I think a lot of us have cheated a little bit. Yeah, that's a good cheat though.
So I went Voltron. I never had the real one as a kid. I had a knockoff from a flea market, but it was close enough. So that
there are a lot of knockoff Voltrons, yeah.
Yeah, and then I went TMNT Raphael. Kind of more the hand-to-hand combat, but also just like the guy who's just a loudmouth dickhead.
Yeah, the attitude, yeah.
And then for my wild card, I went Superpowers Brainiac.
Ooh, interesting.
So the tech guy, the 12th level intellect, whatever the hell that meant, like he was just an asshole. But he could also throw down with the best of them. So kind of a dual purpose there. And I also like Joe's explanation. That's where I went, the foil character. Kind of just there to poo-poo everybody's idea because he's
chaos in the mix. Yeah. No, that's a good team. I like that a lot. Yeah, that would be a fun one to watch. So I just see, like, as we're going through these adventure parties, like I see, like, whatever 8-year-old or 6-year-old us, like putting those figures from these different lines together and creating an adventure. And I'm like, okay, that's one that I would like to watch. Like, yeah. So, yeah, that's cool. Any thoughts on Ryan's?
That's a solid group. And I really do like the Brainiac edition. That was one of my favorite action figures when I was a kid too. Absolutely. I was actually working on a cosmic custom of them that my dog ate.
Oh boy.
Damn.
That's not good.
Man.
Yeah. But yeah, that one, that's a fun choice. I really like that a lot. They were all good. That one.
Sean, you look like you were gonna say something.
Well, Joe ruined the wild card for me because now I just need Brainiac to talk like Cobra Commander because Chris Latta is like so good at being that character. I mean, he played Starscream, he played Cobra Commander. Why not throw him in there as Brainiac on top of that and invade another universe with that? But yeah, and the thing that's actually cool about that, if this was an actual story, that you have Brainiac and Batman having to work together. That would be freaking awesome to watch. The like drama and tension between the two of those characters.
Yeah.
And just like Batman not giving in to whatever Brainiac's saying, even though he's the 12th intellect, like you said. And I really dig that. And you know, Brainiac being who he is, he thinks he can overpower Batman, but Batman's like, I've been experiencing you all my life. I know how to handle this. And he's all prepared and everything. And
Yeah.
Batman.
Awesome.
I think He-Man is like the one lead out of all these lines that would actually like fall in line and do what somebody else would tell him to do. You know, he's just such the goody two shoes that you know, that was a good pick, because normally those alpha, you know, number ones, they're not going to listen to anybody else, but He-Man would, you know, he would do the right thing.
I could see He-Man following Batman's lead for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
Batman, I could just see it. Batman, I'll never ask you to kill, but maybe maim. You can maim. Can you do that for me at least? You know?
Brain deltoids. Yeah. All right. Well, we're on to Jesse. Jesse, do you have an adventure party for us?
It was 5, right?
5. Yeah, 5 vintage figures.
Okay. So my leader, I'm going with Secret Wars Captain America.
Ooh, all right. That's our 3rd Secret Wars figure. Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So cool.
So Captain America, leader, I mean, tactical, blah, 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 you know, all that spiel. Plus, you know, I tried to base these on ones I had as a kid.
And cool shield. The Secret Wars one, he had that bike too, or whatever, that was really freaking cool. I don't know if you had that.
No, I just got the regular one.
He had a cool little vehicle, but all right.
So Captain America's the leader. Kind of I don't know, like range support. I don't know how you'd want to classify him, but I picked Jetfire from Transformers.
Okay.
Just because I basically picked like characters that were like my favorite toys from the lines, and tried to pick ones that fit different roles. So Jetfire, just flight. He's got that big blaster. You know, he's kind of like somewhere between like range and tank, you know, depending on the moment. I didn't stray too much from different lines. I tried to think of other things, but I did Raph and Leo from Ninja Turtles, because you got to have that. They're not as funny as Donnie and Michelangelo together, but like I think they would provide some tension there. You know, it'd be that the little bit of squabbling. You know, Cap like tell them to like get in line and knock their crap off, kind of stuff. And I thought that would be fun. And for the wild card, I'm going Shockwave from Transformers. Just because I always liked him. I did not have him as a kid, but I really wanted him. But just because he's smart, he's got that calculating thing. He wasn't always on Megatron's side necessarily. Kind of just thought he was doing what was best. And I think he would be a fun twist to throw in there with those guys, and give Jetfire something to be like, constantly keeping his eye on or whatever.
Yeah.
And notice, Curtis, not a single female in my party.
That's impressive. That's impressive, especially after we went to the movies earlier and you saw Beaches. So
I certainly did not.
Yeah, we picked it for you. We knew that would be the one that you'd want to see. So
no, I've never seen it.
We were all seeing Bill and Ted, except for Sean, who went to see the Burbs. But yeah, you were watching Beaches. So
well, based on those three, it would definitely be Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah,
good choice.
So what do we think about Jesse's picks?
I like the Jetfire pick a lot. That is one. It's not very often I think back to my childhood and like there was a toy I didn't get that I wished that I did. Jetfire is that one because I ended up being such a huge Macross fan as an adult that I just wish that I had it. It would definitely be on display, but I'm not going to pay those prices for it. But that's a really good pick just because I absolutely love that figure.
Yeah. That's cool. The one for me that really stands out on that is the Cap Secret Wars. I just there weren't, that wasn't a line that was like massive. Like it wasn't like the superpowers where they put out like 80 figures or whatever. Like it wasn't that many figures, but they were all really great. I just love them. And even just like the feel of the bendy plastic, like it's just like that. I don't know. It's just they're great figures to just play with. And then you got the shield with the little comic things that, when you turn it and it does that. Yeah. So I love that pick on there. Anybody else? Sean, any thoughts on Jestys?
Me being me, I like the Leo Raph thing just for obvious reasons.
I mean, they were the first two I thought of. I was like, I can't think about playing childhood toys as an adventure party without Raph and Leo. Like that just doesn't happen without the two of those.
See, I think that Leo and Cap are very similar, like in personality. So I think you could probably have that same dynamic with Cap and Raph without Leo. But I don't hate the idea for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you totally could. And I honestly, I was actually considering throwing in the original Toy Biz Magneto instead of Shockwave, but I'm like, no, I really want freaking Shockwave on there.
Shockwave's cool because you can never really gauge what he's thinking, right? Because he's got no facial expressions. It's just the light, right? So he's so cold and calculating. There's that level of mystery with that character. You look at the rest of the G1 Transformers, they're done up with a face, and he's still the same way, that cold yellow light looking back at you. So there's something about him that I think is so sinister. I like you including him. But that's a good pick.
Beautiful. Well, that's our adventure party. Any final thoughts? Anything that you guys, after hearing everybody's selection, any changes that you'd make, or anything that you didn't think about as far as a role that you'd want to add next time or something?
I'd say for me, my first initial one of the one that I cast where Firestorm was originally was actually Teela, but the honesty of it came out from, because you could have done Teela as either the warrior or you could have her be like the goddess version, either or, and then as the goddess she could be a healer and all that. But then there was that part of me that's like, Firestorm. That's all there is to it. Like the minute I felt Firestorm, like I'm not diverting from that. Firestorm,
right?
But yeah, she would have been fun to put in there, and plus her with Han Solo would have been hysterical too. On like a different level.
Yeah,
I knew a girl that dressed almost like that once, Chewie.
That's pretty good. That sounds a little bit like him.
I try. I succeed occasionally, but yeah.
I think out of all the adventure parties, Sean's Chewie and Han as truckers inside of Optimus is like we need that as a series. Like, you don't even need the rest of that adventure party. I just want to see Sean, like Han and Chewie as truckers, and their adventures.
Space truckers.
Punch in the sublight engines, Chewie. You've done it. I've heard him say that too many times. All he's doing is pushing the brake. Screw you, Han.
He's just doing a bad job of playing DJ, right?
Yeah. I don't want to hear Born to Be Wild one more time.
Now I'm picturing this, but like I feel like you got to have like Kit in the back of the tractor trailer then from Knight Rider.
Yeah, that would have been
cool. Get me away from these people.
That'd be cool. Beautiful. Well, we've done This Week in Theaters. We did Adventure Party. We talked about the new Joes. We had last week was the ISS. Anybody have any thoughts about the ISS? Did you pick up anything? Were you excited for anything that you got or any of that?
Me.
Yeah. Did you get anything besides the Relic Templars?
Yeah, well, as soon as the sale went live, I got 4 Valiant Knights and an all-in.
Nice.
You know, just because those are the ones that I really wanted, and I figured that they would probably go pretty quick. So I actually only meant to get 3 Valiant Knights, and I don't know. I was tired that morning and at work, and trying to hide and buy toys, you know, without getting in trouble. So
based on one
4,
or 2 posts in the Cabal, I don't think you'll have trouble moving a Valiant Knight if you need to. So
yeah, I was actually really happy that I got them. So I commented on a few videos, you know, that I got 4 of them, and then later realized that people were upset because they sold out and so fast, and I had no idea that had happened. So I was an accidental jerk a few times without knowing.
Accidental jerk. Yeah, I'm more of a purposidental jerk.
Yeah,
4,
it was
you monster.
Nice. Yeah, I saw the surprise on there for me was the Stone Troll. I wasn't expecting that, so I pulled the trigger on that right away, because I have a custom that I originally wanted to use a Stone Troll body for, and then at Legion's Con they didn't have any Stone Trolls, so I picked up an Ice Troll and was going to do that instead. And when I saw it there, I just knew I needed to pull the trigger quick on it because I figured those weren't going to last very long. So I did, but then afterwards I got to thinking about it, and I don't know. I think I'll still probably stick with the Ice Troll, which means that I would have an extra Stone Troll available, which I was trying to bribe Sean to come to MesquiCon because I know he needs one. So but he's got other commitments. But yeah, I got that. I picked up some ogres. I picked up 2 of the ogres, 2 of the half giants, just because I feel like that's a scale that, you know, having some extra bodies for customizing is never a bad thing. And then just some builders. But then Monday, when I was watching Legion's Lounge, fucking Dorklair goes on talking about all this stuff that's still out there, and you're never going to see these prices. And then I had to go place another order. so I went back out and ordered, because they made a good point. Like the ogre accessory pack was like, you know, it's $20 for the pauldrons. You get the head, you get the weapon. Like that's just like we've got before that kit, like we've got a lot of ogres and half giants in the line that have no pauldrons. So like those pauldrons alone for $20 is a great deal. Like if you were to buy a third party set of pauldrons unpainted, you'd probably be spending, I don't know, $45 for a set of pauldrons just to then paint up. These are $20. It's painted, and you get the weapon, and you get the helmet. I mean, it's just, yeah. That's a great deal. So I had to add a couple more of those to my cart. Picked up a couple more dwarves and just some builder things. Oh, I bought 3 Mephitor's too. And I hate that character. It's one of my least favorite characters, but it's I need that size, that scale for goblins and mice and all that kind of shit. So for that, I think it'll work out well. But anybody else?
I got
Ryan, you were at ZoloCon. Jesse was at ZoloCon, so I'm guessing you guys got the stuff you needed there.
Yeah.
Sean, I think you said you were waiting until you got paid this week to maybe take a look. Did you take a look this week? And
I did Afterpay for the ones I got. I ended up I got a Demistros because I never got my hands on that one yet, and I kept thinking he looks cooler than I want to believe he looks for some reason. And then I started thinking of pop and swap options on him, so I got a Varg to mess with, and then I got 2 of the Shadow Work Legion builders because I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I kind of like the idea that Demistros could be like flanked by those two guys and have them be his heavies or whatever. Because I'm looking at him as kind of like a heavy hitter now, the way I'm hopefully going to pop and swap him on the shelf. So we'll see what happens.
Very cool.
Nice.
Chris, did you hit up anything in the ISS?
You know, I had thrown the Waltor exclusive, the Cosmic, the orange deco into the cart, and then I was, with the shipping, right? I'm like, I gotta get a couple things, so I'm going through, and then I got distracted with the day. Is that one of those ones that's still in there, or Waltor is gone? Waltor, yeah,
it's still in there.
So I'll probably go and grab him because I got a couple of things I put in the cart, but the Cosmics, I know that's going to be a slippery slope once I finally really get into it. So
yeah,
so yeah, I'll probably go pick him up, especially now since I just got paid today. So
yeah, that's a good one, and the especially the Cosmic Walter, I just love the colors on it. It looks really cool. I saw Jesse had done some heads for ZoloCon, like some monkey heads and stuff matched to that body that looked really good. Yeah, Ryan got one. So that's a really cool one. And then the other thing that happened last weekend was Brian Lynn, Carver Customs, did his bot pre-order for the Char 71 bot, which if you guys haven't seen that, it is really cool. It's just like a little bot that has all these different interchangeable arms and stuff, and it's one of those things where you can just buy the standard bot, I think is like $30, but then he's got all these different arms and topper options that make it even cooler. And there's like an all-in option where you get everything that he made. And then the neat thing that we found out this week was that the ports on the bot match the ports on the Cosmic. So like the little blasters and stuff that you have on Cosmic will plug into that bot. But the cooler part is the things for the bot will work on Cosmic. So like the bot has like one of the arms is like this like arm that has like a saw on the end of it. So you can plug that into the Sentry's port on his arm, and all of a sudden now like he's holding a blaster, but he's also got like a saw attachment on his arm and shit. So I'm super excited about that. I know we did a giveaway on Shooting the Shelf last Sunday for that, and he's letting us do another one this Sunday. So we'll be doing another giveaway this Sunday for the standard bot. But yeah, I'm really excited. I was excited for the Char 71 bot by itself anyway, but the fact that it's opening up these extra options to attach with the Cosmic parts, specifically the 9 million Sentries that I've got, and now some Waltor figures. That just opens up a whole nother door, and I'm just really excited for it. So cool. And then we had the retailer wave. I think we might have talked a little bit about that last week. Mm-hmm.
Also, I wasn't done.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't
no, it's okay. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Just so Mr. Ackerman put a bug in my brain last week and challenged my completist mentality for Mythic Legions. So you're gonna get 12, right? And I was like, I'm not. I got the all in. I'm okay. And then I just kept thinking about it and thinking about it and thinking about it. So I went back and just ordered 6 more because I was like, well, now that'll put me at a good amount, and then I can just kind of pick up the rest maybe if I go to a show or something like that. And then a couple days later I got paid, so I went back and ordered 2 more with some other figures that I wanted also. I got a Demistros because I want to display like the regular skull head, with the con exclusive. I got some of the Legion builders, the deluxe Legion builders, just for parts for customs. And a Waltor, the Mythic Legions version, because I like that outfit. I want to use that for a custom.
Yeah.
And
Well,
probably
that's
so.
one.
I got that.
A bug I planted there in your brain.
Well, you said as a completist, and that's the part that kept rolling over in my head. That I'm going to say I have everything, but not enough of everything. So it just let's be honest. I wanted 12 of them. I was just trying to talk myself into it. And if I can blame you, Curtis, that makes it even easier because it's not my fault.
Yeah, that works for sure.
Enabler Ackerman.
Yeah. So Jesse, sorry I skipped over you. I assume that anything that you would have gotten, you would have picked up from ZoloCon. But yeah, what did you grab?
No, I kind of went a little nuts, and like Sean did one of those like payment plan things. Just because I was like, man, there's so many customs I have in the works, but there's like I want to have other stuff, and if this stuff is gone, down the road, I don't want to have to pay more for them because they're older or harder to find. So I got 2 Vargs, 2 Walter Mythics, 2 Silverhorns, a Decebulus, 2 Vampire Phalanx, 2 Shadow Orcs, 2 Deluxe Barbarians, Ogre 2, Half Giant, Gold Knight, Deluxe Skeleton, Deluxe Dwarf, and the accessory pack for the Ogre. And then I was feeling twitchy, so I went back and got 2 Cavern Dwarves, another Ogre, another Half Giant, a Silverhorn, and a Deluxe Goblin.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah, you did all right.
So like, I want to make a shadow ogre with one of the ogres. So do it up in that black and brown with one of the Wolf King heads.
You plan on dyeing it?
With the half giant, not the green one, with the half giant.
You plan on dyeing it?
Probably not.
Oh, you're just gonna try to paint the joints?
Yeah. I mean, I might dye it. I'm gonna dye some other things because a while back I got a couple of the white timbers off eBay, and I don't want like a pack of all white wolves. So I'll probably just do black and then do accents on those. So I might throw something in eventually. But I wanted to have some stuff, like to take to shows to have, since I'm helping Len at a bunch of shows this year. So like, if he doesn't have them, I want to have like blanks there so we can like be like, oh, this head was gold painted to match a Gold Knight, and I don't have to worry about pulling the ones off my actual shelf.
Yeah.
But Decebulus, again, he's got a really cool vampire ogre scale head that I wanted I thought would be fun to paint up with that and all that jazz. So I got my Brian C. crab, so I needed to get some skeleton bits for that.
I showed in my toy pickups. I showed that mine earlier. I just love this thing, man. It is. It might be the coolest sculpt that I've seen all year. I just, I mean, Brian does some stuff that's kind of out there, and some of it hits me, and some of it I'm like, nah, it's not for me. That one, like as soon as I saw it, I was like, I got to get that. It is such an interesting design, and then I probably just, but like if I just saw the sculpt itself, I don't know that I would have been as attached to it. But as soon as he did pictures with the skeleton limbs, I was like, holy shit, that really works well as crab limbs. So yeah, I absolutely love that thing. I can't wait to see what you do with that.
I have 2 of them, so I have no idea what I'm gonna do. One's probably gonna have skeletal parts and the other armor, or like 2 skeletal and 2 armored part. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
I saw he even did one like a cosmic one. Like he had like some cosmic limbs and stuff on it, and that looked cool too. I think he did it like in purple and yeah. So I mean, you can really do whatever the hell you want with it. The fun part about that one was just being able to play. Like a lot of things, like I'll get a head that clearly just goes on a night or something. And it's like, okay, there's not a lot of playing that goes with this thing. It was like, I have no idea what to put with this thing. So it was a whole get out, my 19 bins of fodder parts and play around and see what looks good. So yeah, it created not only what I think is a really cool looking custom, but it gave me a whole day of just playing with toys that, I like. You only get so many days in this life. And if one of them I got to spend playing with toys all day because Brian put out an amazing sculpt, like, thanks, Brian. Cause you just, that's one of the days of my life that was just fun playing with toys. So yeah.
Very cool.
Very cool.
All right. Well, I think we're getting to the point to close out the show, unless you guys got anything else any other topics that we need to discuss. I know Jesse saw the Dune 2 without going into spoilers and stuff like that, like just initial thoughts, like yes, no, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Absolutely loved it. Like I feel like this puts going to the movies back on the map for me. Like,
oh wow. Okay.
People who know me, I used to be like, before the pandemic, I was at the movie like at least once a week. I had one of those like passes for the local theaters where I could go like 3 times a week. So I was like trying to make the most of it. And then there just hasn't been enough stuff that I'm like, yeah, I need to go see that in the theater. Like, and if you liked the part 1 that came out a couple years ago, you will probably like this one. If you did not like that one, this one might be a little more action packed, just because of, I mean, if you know the story, you know what's going on, but it's really cool. I think the music and the sound production and just like the whole environment of being in that world was really cool. I saw it in one of those for here, they called it an RCX theater, where it's got like the speakers built into the chair, so you get like extra immersive like audio with it, and that was really cool. And a huge screen, so like I think I can say this without spoiling. It's like the very first moment, like the first one, it starts off with like that Sardaukar, that little like quote where they say something about like the dreams in the first one. They start with different ones where it's just that weird robotic kind of like throat voice thing. And it just immediately yanked me right back into that world, like instantly. Yeah, it was epic.
Yeah, I haven't thought about seeing a movie in the theaters for a while. Like, there's not been anything but this is one that I'm like, we were talking about when we did This Week in Theaters. Like, if you're going to go back to 1989 and watch a movie, like, what's a movie that's good to see on the big screen? And Dune 2 is one of those where I wouldn't want to wait until it's streaming. Like, I think you want that fully immersive theater experience for that. I mean, I haven't seen it, but I would guess that there's enough action and big special effect things going on that you would want that big screen experience.
And he's such a visual storyteller. Denis Villeneuve, the director, like, it's one thing to watch, even if you have a big screen TV, it's impressive. But when it's on a big screen in front of you and just the place is dark and the sound is just cranked, and it's really cool. I watched part 1 because that was during the year they were doing all their like big movies on HBO at the same time as releasing in theaters. So I was like, man, I don't want to wait. Like, I wanted to watch. So I stayed up really late the night it came out and watched it and loved it. And then like that weekend, I went back to the theater with a friend and watched it in the theater. So, yeah, it was definitely worth seeing on the big screen. Unless you just don't like Dune, then pass.
Yeah.
If you didn't like the first part, you're not going to like the second part.
Has anybody else seen the movie yet, or anybody that has plans on going and seeing it? No.
I think you bring up a great point though, Jesse, about the movie experience being more than just the visual. It's the sound experience. I mean, that to me is, that's one of my favorite parts of going to the movie, is that my wife's not yelling at me to turn it down. Like, it is what it is in here, right? It's loud. Go with it, right? when I saw Top Gun Maverick at the theater, I knew that I was never going to have that same experience back home without getting yelled at because it was too loud and the kids are trying to sleep, and to have the sub up and everything like that. That's my favorite part of going to the theater, because I feel like the some of the TVs, they're so big, they're so good now, but that's the piece that I feel like a lot of people are starting to forget, right? Like when you go to the theater, it's so immersive with the sound, and you feel the movie. It's like going to a live concert, right? You don't just hear the music, you feel the music, right? And I hope more people start going back to the movies, because that to me is my favorite part of it.
Because we were sitting there watching, and as the trailers were going through, I went with my buddy Nate, and I was like, man, like almost every weekend in March has like a massive movie coming out. So we got Dune this weekend, and then the last 2 weekends, I can't remember the order, is the Ghostbusters, was it Frozen Empire, and Godzilla Kong, that new one. So I was like, man, those are two, ones that would be worth going to see on the big screen. So I was like, this might be a good year for picking up that pass thing again. But
well, the question that I think is on everybody's mind, though, Jesse, is, did you pick up the popcorn tin?
No, I don't like popcorn.
Yeah, but the tin.
No.
All right. I mean, so many uses. Sarlacc pit, fleshlight.
Big ass fleshlight.
I just remember when that came out and I brought that up to you, like it took you forever to get that's what someone was going to do with that bucket. I had to like spell it out for you.
It did. But I do see some customizing potential in it. Like
there could be some, but no, I mean, I'm sure that thing was probably what, $50, $40.
Oh, I have no idea.
I don't like popcorn at all. And
I haven't been in the movie theater in a while, and when I do go, I don't purchase their wares. So
you always just gotta rub that salt in the open wound, don't you?
All right. Anything else going on, guys? Anything that you're looking forward to? Shows, sales, reveals, anything else that's going on that we want to talk about before we close out the show?
X-Men 97 at some point this month, right? I think it's the middle of the month, right? Is that when that comes out? That's what I'm most looking forward to.
Like the 24th or something? I don't know. It definitely comes out this month, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jesse, you missed it. Chris was having a good conversation about X-Men, the animated series, and watching it with his kid, and just how good it is. And that they're excited for the X-Men 97. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm glad they're excited. I hope you guys have a good time watching it. Just don't invite me over.
Oh, jeez. So real quick, what is it that you didn't like about the trailer?
He just doesn't like the old series in general.
I don't like the old series at all.
No.
Did you like it back then, or you just don't like it now with the eyes of an adult looking back on it?
No, Sean got me into comics like the year or two before that show hit, and when it came out, I was super excited. Yeah. And when I watched, what was it, The Night of the Sentinels, the first one, I was like, what is this crap? Like, and I watched it because it was X-Men and it was there, but like, it didn't work for me. And, but I'm glad that a lot of other people got access to the X-Men because of it. So,
and we've had this discussion before, whether it's with Masters of the Universe, with the MCU movies, whatever. I think it's one of those where if you're really locked into the lore of these characters in some sort of form or fashion, whether it's from, there's people that hate the Filmation He-Man because they read the mini comics first, and the mini comics is their version of He-Man, and so they think the Filmation sucks. And then there's people that hate like Revelation because they got Filmation in their head, and so sometimes as fans we get a certain version of these characters in our head, and it's hard to kind of toss that aside and look at this other thing as just a different version and appreciate it. And I know I do that as well. Like it, you know, I was a big DC fan growing up. So, you know, when I watch DC movies, I'm uber critical, you know, that like, oh, well, Superman wouldn't kill somebody. That's like a core thing to that character. That's not like, you can't do that. And I can't separate myself from what I know about Superman previously to what I'm seeing in that movie. And I think, you know, I don't want to speak for Jesse, but he can, you know, it sounds kind of similar that he has this version in his head from the comics that this was not that. And it's such a departure that it's like, yeah, I don't like that. I like my version. So
I think a lot of those cartoons were gateways though, right? I mean, I read comics because I received so much of the exposure with the cartoon. The thing I always struggled with as a kid was it was easier to have a wider breadth of exposure with the shows than it was ever with the comics. Like as a kid, I always struggled to find like runs of a story. You know, a lot of times my comics came in those like multi-packs of comics, right? Because that was the cheaper way, right? So it's like you're getting like, you know, a couple little bits and pieces, and it's, you know, 20 something pages of a piece of the story, and it's just enough to wet you, but you may never find the one that came before or the one that became after it unless you were really diligent and had a good local comic shop. I didn't. A lot of mine was like spinner racks and those clearance things. So it's like I struggled with full story arcs until I was later teen and I found a comic book shop. But as a kid, it was all the shows, and then that made us buy the sweatshirts and the notebooks, and then the, you know, the Toy Biz figures and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, and I same kind of thing. Like when I was a kid, like I didn't even know comic shops existed. Like I didn't know that was a thing. Like I would see comics when we would go to there was like a small bookstore in town that we would go to, and we would only go because my dad was buying a racing form to you know, go to the track, so he knew what horses to bet on. And they would have like a little tiny rack with just like maybe 10 comics or something. And to your point, like, yeah, you would get just that little snippet, and you may not be back to that bookstore for, you know, another month or two. And if you did, they may have the same ones there. They may have something completely different, but you weren't getting like total runs on them. So, yeah, I mean, the reason I got attached to the DC line is the old Super Friends cartoon.
Yes.
And you know, watching that, I love that Super Friends cartoon. And then, you know, they would throw like, even like you'd watch Scooby-Doo and they would have like Batman and Robin would show up on Scooby-Doo. It was sort of like a little tie-in and stuff. So yeah, I get what you're saying. You know, that was a nice kind of gateway to that stuff. And then it wasn't until I was in my teens where, you know, I knew about comic shops and I was able to start going myself. And that's when I really took a deep dive into the comic side of things. But at that point, because of everything that I had, you know, between the Super Friends cartoon, between the Superpowers line and all that, I was really DC focused at that point. So yeah, when the X-Men cartoon came out, I was like, I don't know who these characters are, but this is cool and I love it. I thought it was amazing, and I get it. It's not the same as what's in the comics, but for me, yeah, I think it's awesome. So I'm super excited for that X-Men 97. Can't get here fast enough. I wish they would have stayed more to the look of the characters a little bit more, because I've seen some, you know, some things that looks a little different, and I get it, it's going to be a little bit different, but I feel like they're making some choices to try to make some characters more androgynous, and I just don't know that you need to do that. So, but whatever, it is what it is. We'll see how it goes.
Hey, Jesse, the character in the second wave of the Legends, there's a character, I don't know if you can see it here, Executioner. Yeah. That is brand new to me. What?
He's been around since 1991.
Really?
Yeah, whole story arc called Executioner Song. It was like a crossover through. Is that the one that went through almost every title?
That went through all the X titles after like Jim Lee left the books, and all those guys. But yeah, he's an FBI agent that he was involved in helping the X-Men, and his partner ends up getting killed. So he gets access to a lot of Shi'ar weapons, and he just puts all the weapons on himself and goes out there mutant hunting.
Wow.
So, and I always thought the design was really cool, but when I found that part out, I was like, well, that's kind of lame. I kind of wanted him to be like super powered, other than having gadgets to superpower himself. It almost feels like that's the X-Men's Batman or something, and I'm like, I don't like that as much. But visually, he's a really cool character to look at. He's like Boba Fett for X-Men too in that way.
I'm genuinely surprised that they're bringing in Madeline Pryor, into the cartoon.
She's wearing pants though. It's not the same. You're gonna miss that loincloth.
Still the concept of having that character in the show, like they're definitely not writing for kids on Saturday morning. Like this is definitely written for the
it's got to be a completely different story. Like nothing that they did with that character fits in the modern era. like nothing.
There's screenshots of her with being pregnant and everything. So
really,
yep.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Yeah, there's a shot where they're in like the door of the mansion and they're all like standing there, and then there's Madeline in like a striped shirt being pregnant. I mean, it looks like Jean, but I mean, if you know the story, you know that's not Jean.
Right. Yeah, because I mean, the original story, I was young enough to not really get everything, but rereading it as an adult, it's pretty inappropriate. Yeah.
All right. As a kid, I'm like, why is she kissing Cyclops' brother? And then she takes him by the hand and leads him out of the panel. I go, why is she leading him out of the panel? And then later on, it's like she's getting dressed later, and I'm like, oh, why did they change that scene? They did the dirty bit there, and I missed it. What the crap, people? Like, come on. I was like 10, 12 years old when that was going on, and it's like that's the age I was like, you don't turn the camera off. I want to watch that because like X-Men was like the gateway drug to becoming like, okay, you're getting into a lot more adult themes, you're getting into a lot more also that was your beginning to get into some of that stuff compared to like Spider-Man. It's like, oh, he's just fighting Venom again. Okay, we got that, but then all of a sudden, wait a minute, who's stopping who in the X-Mansion this week?
Yeah, it was like when I would go
for the record, that's not what I liked about X-Men that I didn't like about the show. Just want to put that out there. But now that I've said that, everybody's going to think that's what I wanted.
When I would go to the comic book shop as a teen, there was like 3 types of guys in there. There was me and the folks like me that was like, the goody two shoes, like DC guys. Like we just, like trying to, that good guy vibe. Then you had the Marvel guys, and they're a little bit more edgy. They're kind of the cool guys. Yep. And then there were the Spawn guys, and those are the guys you just fucking stayed away from. Like they were like that. Yeah, they could probably they're probably going to kill you if you look at them the wrong way. So you just like everybody stayed away from those guys.
Well, that's the thing with DC in the 90s. It was sunglasses and leather jackets to try to make them look cooler. With Marvel, it was pouches everywhere. And then with Spawn, it was just, studded wristbands and chains everywhere. It's like, okay, I see who's going to be doing what in bed later tonight. There you go.
And things that look like tendrils,
exactly,
waving everywhere. Like anytime that somebody's got a cape, they've got to have like it's like doing this thing like on. Yeah.
Well, speaking of that, so yesterday, according to social media, I didn't understand what the deal was, but everybody kept saying happy birthday Superman all over the place. Supposedly, I think I looked it up, something along the lines of, I guess the version of Superman from Man of Steel would have landed on Earth that day based on the timeline in the movie or something. So they're like, oh, happy birthday Superman. I'm like, all right, I got nothing. But the one thing that really was cool to me about that was yesterday was also the first day of filming the James Gunn Superman movie. that's going to come out.
Which they changed the title. It was
They've
Superman
changed the
Legacy,
title. It's
not
no
just
longer Superman Legacy. It's just Superman, which is cool. And I've already started seeing like TikToks with the actress playing Lois Lane, and she's just sitting there in the camera, and she's just kind of smiling. And out of nowhere, Lex and Clark both come in off the sides, and she's like giggling her head off. And I'm like, this is already making me happy because I didn't see shit like this when Snyder was running the joint. This looks more what I was hoping compared to the seriousness and all that stuff that we got out of the last one. So
who's playing Lois Lane again?
Rachel Brosnahan, who's if you've ever
Miss
seen
Maisel.
Marvelous Miss Maisel.
Okay.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I think Gunn knows how to tell a good tale. The one chick that was in Madam Web, I guess I saw something where she came out and was saying that the movie was failing because, you know, audience are chauvinistic and all this kind of shit. And it sounded like she had been cast as a character in that film. And when she was talking about it in the Superman film, and when she was talking about it, she said that, you know, that Lois Lane is the protagonist of the film, which, you know, maybe that's her take on reading the script. Maybe that's not correct. Maybe that's just how she views it through her, you know, colored glasses. But if that's the case, if we're getting a Superman film that, and the first one that we're getting from this new Gunn universe is, you know, really centered around Lois Lane, I'm gonna be a little bit disappointed. And it's not that I don't want to see any Lois Lane, but like it should be about Superman. So we'll see. I wasn't really encouraged to read that. And that's not something that I've really seen from Gunn, where he's like trying to force that kind of stuff down our throats in anything that he's done so far. So I'm hoping that that's just, you know, this lady views the world in this way that, you know, and so this is how she read the script. I don't know. We'll see.
No, I didn't see anything about that, so I can't really say anything. But I think that the actress you're talking about, I think she's the one that's cast as Hawkgirl.
Yes,
that's the same actress. But I mean, the way I look at it, it would be kind of cool to have a little less Lois in danger and a little more Lois the reporter and capable, you know, in that way. And like the My Adventures with Superman show kind of proves it works if it's done in the right way. So I'm kind of hoping that that Gunn will actually like do some service to her on that to justify it at least. But I mean, casting wise, I'm pretty excited. I don't know David Corn Sweat from, or however you say his name, Corn Sweat. I don't know him from much yet because I don't think I've ever seen him in anything, but looks wise, he does look Superman-esque, so I'm good there. But
yeah,
Gunn behind the whole thing, both writing and directing it, that's the part where I'm like, okay, you made me believe in this ragtag group of adventurers, you know, in Guardians of the Galaxy, and they became some of my absolute favorite characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I want to see Superman now. I want to see you take on one of the biggest names in comics and what you can do with that now. So yeah,
it'll be interesting. We'll see how it goes.
There was a teaser picture that came out with that, right? Where it was like the Superman logo behind like snow or ice or something like that.
Yeah, Sean's mom didn't like it.
My mom hated it. Yeah, but
Curtis didn't like
I
it either.
I took screenshots of my conversation with her, because anytime it's like a new Superman anything, I'll usually be like, hey mom, because she grew up with George Reeves Superman, and then it being that age, you know, the Christopher Reeve one, it just, you know, fit right in, and then she raised me on those movies. So then I'm usually the one, mom, hey, this, that, or whatever, and she likes that traditional S. And the minute I showed her the new one, because it's more like Kingdom Come S.
Yep.
And she goes, I get what you're saying. I don't like it. And I'm like, okay, mom, that's cool. Whatever.
Yeah, I don't mind the S. I'm cool with the S. ever since the Brandon Routh Superman, and then it went into the Henry Cavill ones, and now it looks like this one. They do this like the costume where it's got like these, I don't know, where it's like beady. It's not like a flat like blue. It's not bright enough. It always feels like they're trying to go like dark with it, and make it look like almost like a tech suit instead of just smooth. And I just don't like the texture on it. So the S itself doesn't bother me. The colors, and the way that the suit is done, I wish it was more classic, traditional, bright blue, bright red, that kind of thing. But it's just one picture. I'm not losing my shit over it. It's just I wish they would make different choices, but we'll see.
I bet there's a reason, like when they the shadowing, of just the bright blue suit. It's probably not very flattering, on the actors, with that texture. It probably helps to make better shadowing of where muscles maybe don't exist, but they would when they're drawn. That type of idea.
It's just, it once again, this falls in the category of, in my mind, I've got this version of Superman that's from the toys, that's from the cartoon, that's from the Christopher Reeves. And then all of a sudden we get into this age, and, from the Brandon Routh on, it's like this textured suit with darker colors. And it's like, that's not what I want. I want,
Wow.
I want the Boy Scout bright colors Superman. So,
I mean, technically the movie that started that, in my opinion, Spider-Man, though.
Yeah.
They had the raised webs on them and all that stuff, which it looked cool on the screen. But the hardest part with a lot of these movies, which, I mean, Marvel kind of cracked the code on it for me with like Captain America's outfit seemed like you couldn't make that work in live action. And then, like, I hated the Avengers outfit, and I know there's people that think I'm an idiot for thinking that, but I hated that version. But then when we got into Age of Ultron, I was like, that's how he needs to look. You just keep looking like that from now on, because it worked.
Yeah, I mean, even like you look at the original X-Men movie, and they put him in those like black leather suits and stuff.
Yeah,
and it's
that
like,
was hard.
I think they went through this phase where they felt like if you made it look like the comics, people wouldn't believe it, or it wouldn't, I don't know, it wouldn't be a believable movie. And then as time has gone on, we've seen some versions where they actually give us what we want. Like, it looks the way it should look. And it's like, that's fantastic. Like, it's cool. You can do it in bright, cool colors and have fun with this. And that's what I was kind of hoping they would do here, but we'll see.
Yeah.
See, I feel like there's such a disconnect when you see some of these costumes and you see all the intricate embroidery and stuff like that. And it's supposed to be this clandestine hero who made it themselves, or their mom made it so that way nobody could figure out who they are. And and you look at it and you're like, wow, they must be some amazing seamstress, right? And it's funny. I think that's one of the things that The Incredibles kind of poked at, and I laughed at the most was, they had to go get their super suits made up, and
Edna mode.
yeah.
So this is the picture that we were talking about. So like I said, you can see the textured thing. The S is more of like the Kingdom Come type S, which I think you even put in the comments on this, Sean, that it's also similar to the new cartoon that they have out. Is that correct?
It's not 100%, but it's like 90% that. And I feel like that maybe because that cartoon has done well, and I know they're doing a second season to it and stuff, that I think maybe they're like, well, let's keep that as a consistent branding for what we want to do, because it half the time, like they're canceling the Lois and Superman show. And they're canceling it, from what I heard, because they're making the movie, and then it's like, well, they're having competing Supermans, which that's retarded. I hate to use the word, but it's stupid. It's just, why would you do that? Like, you can tell all these different stories and still make it effective with the character. But in a corporate way, it's like we have to have it the same across the board, or else people aren't going to understand it and all that stuff. So it's different than what I was expecting it to be. But this has been passed around at least for a week or two, because they did a table read like a week before, and that was the S on the cards for the people. And the girl that did Hawk Girl, she actually took a photo of her name card, and the S was on there. So then everybody was passing that off on social media for a week now, saying that's the official look. And it's like, it wasn't really official until yesterday with that.
Right.
And I'm wondering personally, just out of, just for the sake of argument here, what if that isn't even the S on his chest? What if that has to do with like his ship or something? And that's why the texture might be there.
It's
I'm
possible.
just saying.
I mean, we really don't know till we know.
We don't know. So
I just,
but
yeah.
I
From that one, I mean, I loved Henry Cavill as Superman. Like, I loved just his look, but even his suit, I didn't really love. Now, when they did it in at the Shazam movie, when they, like, it wasn't really Cavill, but they had that like cut scene at the end where you can't see his head, and the colors were brighter. I love that. Like, that looked cool. So I don't know.
Yeah. The thing with the movies that were the Snyderverse version, and like Jesse said it best, the way that the materials they used for the outfits were all similar. So something that was supposed to be of Krypton also looked like Batman's outfit. And that to me was just not thinking forward on the costume designer's part. Like, Batman's suit should not have a similar material to anything Superman should be wearing. It should be distinct, and that was one of the biggest parts where I looked at both of those outfits and I'm like, it's a movie. There are costume designers. It just didn't have that feeling of Batman has his own take on how to make this work and Superman's is this or whatever, because it's like they dyed one blue and one gray and now you got it. Okay, but
yeah.
So
if he doesn't peel cellophane off of that S and throw it at somebody, it's a wasted opportunity.
Well, there you go.
You got to do that. Yeah.
He should have done it in Man of Steel. We would have avoided all that. Why did he kill Zod talk? I mean, geez, all he had to do was cellophane throw it.
Yeah.
It gets on his face and he's like, I can't get it off.
That is the weirdest like superpower that they like. I don't know where that came from. Like, who was sitting in that room and is like, okay, I got this idea what Superman can do in this situation. And like nowhere does that ever appear anywhere before. And it's like,
while he was unwrapping his sandwich, he's like, hey, I have an idea.
Yeah.
I like to pretend that just doesn't exist. For what fucking reason do you need a superhero that's so OP to throw cellophane at somebody?
Well,
yeah, and the sad thing is that I think that is the quintessential perfect superhero movie. Like, I love Superman 2. I think Superman 2 is absolutely amazing. But yeah, that is one part of it that kind of sticks out like an eyesore. So
for me, to Chris's point earlier about the take on the costume and this is supposed to be made by your mom. The one that got me the most out of any version to date was Superman Returns, because I found out that the boots actually had the Superman logo all over the boots. It has a big logo on the heel of the boot where the rubber starts. So there's a big S shield there. And then all of it underneath is the Superman logo. And the minute I saw that, I thought what Chris was saying, it's supposed to be made by his mom. And I almost threw my computer across the room out of anger. I was like, this is so overly complicated.
Yeah.
You're just
making
it ridiculous.
Even if that suit was explained as to being like from Krypton, like, how full of yourself, like, it's one thing to have like the big S, because like that's your family crest. That's like like a
it
traditional
stands for hope, Jesse. I don't know if you knew that.
If it's a ceremonial thing, to have that on the thing, but to have it like, on the wrists like you were saying, like on every tread on the sneaker, the tread of the boot and everything. It's like, I mean, that just feels like a really bad like rapper movie where they're trying to make fun of how full of themselves the character is. So like all of his teeth would have like the Superman logo, like, grill on it, and he's got a Superman watch and a Superman chain, and it's just like I know they poke fun at it a little bit in Captain Marvel, where Nick Fury gives Carol like the hat to wear, and it's got like the shield emblem on it. She's like, "Oh, what is this, like your super secret spy agency with a baseball hat logo on it?" Like I've always hated that one. It's like, I get it. If it's funny, something like Get Smart, or it's supposed to be a little, tongue in cheek, funny, but when you're supposed to be taking it seriously, and like everybody's wearing like branded watches for your your spy organization, like, okay.
Are you saying that there's something that would give them away? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh, that's funny.
So isn't there a movie where like there's a bunch of spy people in there, and like someone calls the phone and like everybody's phone goes off, like the special spy alert or something? I don't know. I don't know. Be making that up, but no. It's in one of the last James Bond. I think all the bad guys, like, phones start going off at the same time, or like because they like lured all the bad guys into one place or something.
Can I tell you something, Jesse?
No.
I've never watched one James Bond movie my entire life. Like not a single one. Yeah.
Here's me not judging you.
What the hell's wrong with you?
I don't know. I just never I never got it. Like, it never seemed like anything. I think I tried to watch one of the Sean Connery ones, and I was like, nah, this just isn't for me.
All right, but let me say this to you. I didn't enjoy James Bond movies until the Daniel Craig ones.
Mm-hmm.
I liked the more realistic, serious approach to it. Now, I have gone back and watched some of the Sean Connery ones and some of the other ones, and they're definitely,
they're of their time.
They're their own thing. Like like I don't think you're supposed to take it seriously, and at some point they definitely get too wacky, in my opinion. I can't stand the Pierce Brosnan ones. Sorry, guys. But
GoldenEye was decent, but the other ones got kind of campier as they went
along. It gave us an awesome game, but when the villain, like, I'm sorry, with the names like Xena Onatopp, and she's crushing him with her thighs, and which, like, I don't know.
Death by Snoo.
Do I have to explain how awesome that is? I'm going to if you want me to. But I mean, that's the first time I remember seeing Jean Grey. I have to say that because I can't think of her name off the top of my head. I like her. Famke Janssen, yeah. And then when she was Jean Grey, I go, no, her mutant power is she kills people during sex. What the fuck are you guys talking about, Jean Grey?
I just bumped this TV tray next to me that was holding my toys, and Beast Man fell to the floor, and I think he damaged my floor.
That's like 8 pounds on a shelf. So imagine the velocity on top of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing that laminate floor is getting replaced this next month, because I think I just put a hole in it.
I dropped one of my first painted Mythic custom heads at ZoloCon last week, and like the head just cracked, split right across the face.
Oh, wow.
When that contractor comes in to do your floor, you bring that Beast Man up and go, I want a floor that can make this not break it.
Yeah.
And just have him stand there. Oh, yeah. How do we do that?
That Beast Man weighs more than most babies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, I think that is pretty much a show. Let's go around and see where everybody's going to be. Obviously, Legends of Grayskull, we just finished all the reviews for Revolution. Those have all been up there. So if you haven't checked those out and you like that series, you can check out those where, like the last episode of that, we talked for 2.5 hours about a 20-minute episode. We did just do the Mondo Beastman review on Legends of Grayskull. You guys got anything else coming up that you know of, Sean, for that channel?
We also put out our most recent episode from Wednesday. That one up there was like a recap of comments that we got from doing the Revolution reviews. So we got to address some of that stuff, and that's pretty much it. Otherwise, I'm here next week, I guess. So yeah.
All right.
Hey, Sean, real quick. Did you see there's a Masterverse drop coming up on like the 12th or something for Snout Spout?
Mhm.
Do you think this is going to be the first of us getting these Masterverse only sort of on, Mattel Creations, and maybe it's starting to lose some traction at retail?
I think that was the plan for a while. They were going to do the cartoon collection to kind of reinvigorate it, from what I understand, put it out on the pegs and in the stores. But a lot of this stuff they were starting to pull back and just offer online again, due to like how much do you see that's been out there for how long and it never moves, and all that when you go to the stores.
And that's both Origins and Masterverse, because
from what I understood, and then the cartoon collection, that should be what you're finding on pegs after that, because it's like they're refreshing the brand again, because it only went this far and now it's getting stagnant again. So,
gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Chris, what about you? You got anything that people need to be aware of? Any other shows that you got coming up, or anything that you want people to be aware of?
No, we're just getting into the start of the baseball season here, so
Nice.
That's all of my spare time, coaching youth baseball. So I'm looking forward to June when it's all over.
Very good. Joe, you got a show tomorrow?
Possibly. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure.
So maybe check Ostradamus Toys tomorrow night, or maybe Brick Something, or one of the other places that may occasionally host Joe Gonzalez Live.
If they send me an invite, I will be there. My trip got canceled because of bad weather. So
gotcha. Yeah, anytime that we can get some more Joe.
If I get an invite, I'll be there.
Yeah, and
I want to tell a quick story just because
sure, go ahead.
I thought this was hilarious. So last night I was watching Toy Frenzy, and it was pretty late. I was a little tired. Texting my girlfriend. Sean pops on the show. So of course I comment, Sean with an exclamation point, and I'm sitting there, and then my phone dings, and I look, and my girlfriend says, "Who the hell is Sean?" So I thought I was commenting on Facebook, and I text my girlfriend just Sean with an exclamation point. So yeah, I was like, that wasn't for you.
Sean, you're famous in Nevada.
There you go.
The worst time that he could possibly say that is definitely not texting. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it was only texting.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, and once again, we did record a Wednesday win shot with me and Joe that'll be on this Wednesday. So check that out too, so you can get some more Joe Gonzalez time. Rygon, you guys got a show tomorrow?
No, unfortunately, Jonathan's dad passed, so he's going to be spending time with his family. So no SDL. Purple Gang invited Amber on, and then I guess they were nice enough to invite me with Amber. So
here it goes.
There it is.
We'll be on.
You're the plus one. Gotcha. All right. Well, yeah.
I'm like making up for taking over your spot on our show last week.
I don't know. It's all good.
So that should be, I believe that's 9 Eastern on the Purple Gang YouTube channel. Check it out. The Gonzaleses are great people. And that is always a blast watching the Purple Gang because you never know what's going to happen. They are crazy chaotic. So, and then Jesse had a late Mythic Minute this Thursday. I didn't know that you were even on. I caught like the very end of it, but anything else that people should be aware of that you got going on?
Well, my Wednesday one shot this week came out talking about Two Steps from Hell. It's a musical group I like. I've incorporated into my playlist for when I'm writing and creating, customizing.
Darla's a big fan, by the way.
Very cool.
Mhm.
We've got Shooting the Shelf Sunday night with Pete McCarthy, getting some pre-hype on MuskeeCon coming up in a couple weeks. Got some definitely some cool guests coming up the next couple weeks, and another Mythic Minute next Thursday night. Don't know what I'm going to talk about, but there you go.
Beautiful.
I think that's it.
We do have the giveaway Sunday as well. I don't, if you at some point, if you can make a post in the Cabal about Sunday show in general, but just include that that we've got that giveaway, that would be awesome. Just to remind folks.
Sure.
Thanks. I'll shoot you a picture that he sent me,
Okay.
what it includes. So beautiful. Well, that's everybody. Appreciate everybody jumping on. Chris, thanks again for all the great Joe knowledge and you know, the insight with that stuff. Really excited for those figures, especially that doc looks freaking amazing. Everybody's adventure parties were very fun, so thanks for all the work there.
Also, super clear tonight, Chris. No buffering at all, man.
Yeah, zero buffering. Yeah.
It's because I took away all the Fortnite controllers. I'm not even kidding. I literally have all the controllers down here.
Yeah. I think Alexander, he had popped on for a second. I think he had all of the buffering issues tonight. So, he took that baton from you. But yeah, great job, Chris. All right, folks. Well, that is a show, and appreciate everybody that tuned in and anybody that's watching on replay. Until next time, see you in the off world.